All right, everybody say hi on YouTube. Hi on YouTube.
Hi on YouTube.
All right, and be listening up for Top Gun. I figure we'll talk for a little bit. You know what? I don't like Eric Erickson. You know who that is?
No.
He's a talk show host on WSB.
Yes.
And he said something bad about me the other day because I said something bad about him. So I'm going to say something bad about him again when we go live. So YouTube and Radio Land, I'm cranked up today. I'm getting pissed off at this guy. I don't like the fact that he is purposely trying to egg on internal arguments and fights with the Republican Party. And it's just pissed me off. So, all right, we should be going live here. Let's see. We got 1 minute. Everybody good? Got something to drink?
Mm-hmm.
Got to pee? All right, just did. Good.
Yep, we're good. I'm in Depends. I'm here. I'm here for the duration.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. Man, I never thought about that. I wish I would have done that in a damn Humvee in freaking Kabul, or sitting in an aircraft in the desert and
and just look over at the guy next to you and
Saudi
start
Arabia.
smiling, and he's like, "What are you doing?" You're like, "I'm
peeing.
shitting my pants."
All right, you guys ready?
Yep.
All right, here we go. We're going live. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of at least 18 years old, please. This is The World According to Mike. My name is Military Mike. I'm here with my lovely co-host, Danielle, often referred to as Double D. Then we got Pat Kelly with no hat on today. I could have sworn last week we asked him never to go outside without a hat on. He looks tired. Either that or we could blindfold you with some dental floss. And then on the phone this evening, we have Miss Tara Price. Now, I don't know if I want to, if you want me to talk about your blog, or if you want to talk about your blog, what would you like to do, Tara?
Go for it.
Okay.
You talk about it. Yeah.
Tara is an aspiring public speaker. She is basically in the beginning states of being a political analyst. She's an extremely attractive woman, and that's going to open a lot of doors for her. But we've been kind of working on stuff to, compile her thoughts and whatnot, and not to come across, because like the really attractive women that go down on the field in football, they don't get taken serious.
Go down.
Yeah. So I did say go down, didn't I? See what happened? Okay, folks. Folks, just to let you know what kind of day I've had today. Okay, I did the morning show this morning, which is fine. But when I sent out the notes to everybody that was involved in the show tonight about the Constitution, Tara and Danielle start talking about this thing called the vagina Constitution. Mm-hmm. And I'm okay. So they're talking about it, and I'm like, I don't know. And they're like, yeah, why does my vagina got to be a part of this? And I'm sitting there going, are there any pictures? And so nobody said anything. Why is it you guys talk back and forth? I say something, nobody says anything. Okay, I understand, and I'm over it. But I hold a grudge, just so everybody knows. But okay, so you guys duped me. I went and looked it up. So here I am reading, and believe it or not, I'm not going to put it on my site. I guess I could, but there's something called the vagina monologue. And being the sick, perverted bastard that I am, I read it twice. So, and I drew some more pictures.
And it only took about 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's not as long as you would think. Thank God. But Tara goes to bat with some big time folks on Facebook and some other social media platforms, and she can really hold her own, And it's good to see, because now, unfortunately, she's a Ted Cruz supporter. And I think we all understand that Ted's going to lose, but I mean, it's okay. But the thing about it is she truthfully is putting in the time. She's a business owner. So she goes to the rallies. She actually supports the man. Now I saw a clip of a senator. Am I correct?
Yes. Senator Coburn.
Senator Coburn. Okay.
Former senator from Oklahoma.
Yeah, now he started getting some true flack from a constituent, correct?
Yeah, well, she was part of a group that's they're an opposition group, basically, called Evil Forum.
Oh my God, really? Evil Forum?
Yeah.
Oh, I got that tattooed on my ass. Cool. Okay, so that's my tramp stamp. So
is that Eagle Forum or Eagle Forearm?
No, it's EMC squared
Eagle Forum.
I was talking about
when
his
you get
tramp
around
stamp.
my ass, let me tell you something. There's a theory of relativity that you will not understand. And don't anybody say string theory because beats. Okay, so all right, so the point I'm trying to make here is
Pull it
that
like a colored chainsaw.
Tara, the way I've seen, I've been watching Tara and stalking Tara for about a year, and we've talked a couple of times, and she wasn't really ready to go on the radio, and I finally convinced her to do so. And the last month or so, it's amazing to see her discussions. I'm not going to say arguments, but her discussions with people to stand her ground politically in an open forum such as Facebook. And I mean, I think everybody knows how I feel about Facebook. Facebook is your Second Amendment all over the place with some knucklehead sitting back there making the decision whether or not it's going to stay up, just like YouTube, just like the rest of our world. And that's one good reason. I mean, we're talking about the Constitution tonight. So I thought Tara would really be able to fit in. Plus, she's extremely knowledgeable about the branches of the government and their responsibilities, as well as Article 5, which has to do with the Convention of States, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And I will give her an opportunity a little bit later on to discuss that because to me, it sounds like a militia. Okay. It does. It sounds like a breakaway, Baltics, Chechnyan snipers picking us off. No, I'm telling you, man, and I'm not trying to just get people riled up, but the fact of the matter is when states try to break away from the country, and how many states have already passed the ratification or looking at the ratification?
7, but it's not breaking away. It's trying to rein in the federal government. It's not trying to secede from the United States.
Right. They're not officially trying to secede because it's already been dictated by a single tyrant that you cannot secede from the Union.
You know what? We'll read Article 5
Right.
here in a little bit, and I'm telling you, the way I read it, it looks like they're trying to. You guys are talking about pushing back on the federal government. I'm talking about, it seems like to me that the state government is trying to pull back away from the federal government. So,
well, and it's
some good
and you're right, because the thing of it is though is you're doing the same. You're saying the same thing,
right?
But it's not in the fact that they're going. You'll either comply with what we say or we're going to leave. They're not doing that.
I know, but you know what's going to happen?
They are doing a lot of the FU.
Oh yeah,
we're tired of your crap.
Yeah, and that is the type of people that get shot in the snow.
Well, in reality,
by the FBI,
but
in drones,
exactly. So, but in reality, the 10th Amendment of the Constitution gives them that right.
I agree, but you see what I'm getting at, right?
We'll talk about it later.
Okay. Yeah. Just jump in there with your vagina Constitution and correct everything. I know how this works. Women's suffrage, I'm sorry you guys were suffraging. Have you ever seen people ask about that and they really think that it's about women suffering?
Yes.
Instead of suffrage.
Yes.
Because this country is a bunch of freaking dumbasses. I mean, just line them up. You know what? I don't think we have enough ammunition.
The thing
and I'm not talking about killing the enemies.
Thing
I'm talking about killing off the dumbasses.
It's just like religion. If you want to control the population, you control the education.
Yeah, but that's long term. We agree?
Well, no, because it only takes 2 generations to change it.
Yeah,
that's not that long of a term these days.
Son,
I mean, you're talking about 16-year-olds are having kids now, so that's not that big of a generation.
16-year-olds were having kids when I was 16-year-old. She was a slut, and it wasn't mine, but there still were. Right. But I just had to say that.
But I will say this though:
some 32-year-old kid walks up to me and goes, "Dad, I'm gonna punch him in the throat."
They weren't on TV, 16 and pregnant, and there was 5 of them who all gave birth on the same day.
But, dude, you know they were out there. Because there was a girl that left 10th grade, man.
Oh yeah,
and we all had one.
I was in a graduating class of 257, and we had one.
The explosion of the moron population actually happened when we started putting warning labels on things like
coffee might be hot.
Coffee might be hot, but my favorite, and Mike, I know you're going to love this because we're going straight to the vagina with it. Curling iron.
You know me.
The curling iron actually has a warning label on it that says for external use only. Like, who the hell decided that this was going to make the best?
Okay, now let me ask you a question. Do you seriously, and so we're a little bit off track, we'll get, but the first 20, 30 minutes, still the first break, we're stupid. At least I am. Pays the bills, right? I get over because I'm good looking. Just the same thing Tara does. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So here's the thing is, do you guys really feel that those warnings are on there because of some court case?
Yes.
Yes. I really think that people were stupid enough to do
Okay.
something and complain about it.
McDonald's
Yes.
has a warning on their coffee
I
that
agree.
says
Yeah, I've seen it. I've
our
seen it.
coffee may be hot and may scald you, because the same woman got burned twice within 7 days of each other, and won the court case against McDonald's.
Right.
Because if she'd have been served cold coffee, she'd have went inside and bitched. But no, she ordered hot coffee, and then she spilled it on her lap because she was holding it between her legs.
Okay, so
Because she
I
drives
don't
a
use-
stick shift car
I
and doesn't
don't-
have a
I don't use
can
my
holder.
wife's vagina as a cup holder. Okay.
all right, it's almost time for the first commercial.
Thank you.
Wow, ratings just shut up. Okay, so no.
But
Okay,
no,
so I see what
seriously,
you're getting
I mean-
at. But you know now,
And
let's-
what it was she actually put the coffee between her legs. She pulled away
I
from the
know,
window
yeah.
and pulled out in front of somebody, and they
and it
hit her.
sloshed, right?
And no,
Okay.
they hit her, and she slammed her legs
Okay.
together. And
here's my point, okay? Because there is so much of that kind of nonsense. I mean, we're an intelligent group right here. Between the four of us, you see what I'm saying?
Right.
We're probably barking
we-
well
we're-
over 400 IQ points here.
I was going to
So-
say we're probably barking about 20 or 30.
Yeah, a piece. And then, because my IQ only
And-
comes in
and
$20.
because we're in a group, we get the multiplication factor.
But if you're in a group and you're not talking, you look stupid. I mean, that's just all there's
Well,
to it.
that's because I want to jump in here, but
Yeah,
the
good
only
luck.
the only reason that men are
Don't you
intelligent,
point at me
right?
like that.
you know,
Just point at me like a military.
the only reason why men are intelligent, right?
That's right. We have penises.
No, because at night they plug into a genius,
And so every night,
as many as they can.
bonus round, brother. Give me a little high five there on the
Yeah,
air. Okay,
yeah,
if you're
just-
watching YouTube,
You better just keep your mouth shut over there if you want to ever see the inside of that again.
You want to ride home in the car or not? Or in the trunk. That's the thing about women too. It's like, yeah, I want to go for a ride. I want to go for a trip. As soon as you open up the trunk, everybody starts bitching. So, all right, and same thing about duct tape. Hey, it's either duct tape or chloroform. Take your pick. I'm not going to sit here all night waiting on a decision.
I don't
be
have to
made.
worry about the rash if you use chloroform.
Good
so,
deal. Good deal. Wow.
Good to know.
Yeah, well, as long as I've known her, and their Chinese rockets were falling on us. We're sitting in the Dynamo City going, "You going? I'm not going. I'm going to stay here and finish this sandwich." So we have a whole different look on things there. All right, to get back what I was talking about, imagine that. This is something that I look at is because there's all these fraudulent, as I would refer to, fraudulent court cases. Okay.
yes.
And how does a court case of this minimal issue become something that we all know about? Okay. And I think it's because it's BS.
And let's not. The term probably fraudulent is not a good.
Yeah,
term to
I
use,
agree.
But frivolous.
Frivolous.
Well,
because actually, if you go look up the state of Georgia's code on
Right.
frivolous lawsuit
mhm.
or a lawsuit,
okay.
they actually can have
I
the
apologize
authority.
for belching.
They have the authority to take your first 85% before you get taxed,
Okay,
and you
so
pay the full
Great
tax.
point. Okay. And now look, this is the point I'm
They
trying to
don't-
make.
They don't use
How
it.
come a judge didn't see this woman saying, "Oh, my vagina got burned by hot coffee, and I want $800 bazillion from Ray Kroc and the McDonald's Corporation"? How come the judge didn't go frivolous lawsuit?
Because they
Get
put it
out of
in
my
front
court.
because they put it in front of 12 jurors.
Well, not just that, but if they go back through this handy dandy little constitution book,
See how I segued?
constitution book right here, she has every right to sue these companies because she has lost rights because of this. The burns, she has the nope, she has the right to pursue her coffee.
Now, here, the point I was going after too, thank you, is you can sue anybody.
Yeah, I
If-
can
if
sue
you-
you
Yeah.
right now.
You and I can actually go to the courthouse at the same time, talk to the judge right after each other, and put good behavior bonds on each other. $10 in Rockdale County. Okay. And then we got to stay away from each other. We got to behave. If we don't, what happens?
You go to jail because that's what that
No.
mugshot was for.
I know, but here's
No.
the
No, no,
thing.
no, no,
You
no.
don't do that. Then we got to go to a temporary restraining order.
Yes.
Then we've got to go to a restraining order. Then we have to have visual proof
Right.
of one of us violating
The
the
good
restraining
behavior
order.
order. No, first you have to have
Oh, yeah,
visual
yeah, all the
proof
way
that
down.
you violated the good behavior
Okay,
order.
so our is our Constitution. I know we want to talk about the Constitution tonight, and I know everybody's got their own thing. My thing is, my mother was a U.S. Marshal. She became an attorney, and that's where I was supposed to go. I mean, she was shot and killed when I was 15, so things changed. Graduated high school, went straight in the military. But before that, I was going to John Marshall Law School here in Atlanta. I was going to work in her firm. When you you didn't take the trash out in my house on Saturday afternoon, oh, you were sitting down and we were going to talk about Georgia Annotated Code of why you're going to take trash out. I mean, everything.
Georgia Antiquated Code?
Antiquated, yeah. And a trash-awaited. Everything was a debate. You see what I'm saying in my house? And if you didn't debate your position correctly, why you didn't take the trash out, you lost.
Right.
Okay, so I understand it. So when I look at the Constitution, and that's where this whole thing was going, is I look at it from that courtroom. I look at the judicial branch of the government. And I look at how the Constitution and how these founding father guys all got together after the Articles of Confederation didn't work. Okay, obviously the thing just fell apart. They had to do something. Did they just throw it together and it's working?
Yes.
Okay,
As a matter of
let's
fact,
be
it
serious. Tara, chime in anytime you want. But
okay, well, from what I understand, they needed to have the power to tax, and the Articles of Confederation didn't allow for that. So they had to.
By the
they needed
states.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
The
They could
states were able-
state. There was no federal tax.
Right.
So-
So the Articles of Confederation basically said that if you wanted to be paid as a federal representative, you had to be paid from your state because the federal government didn't have the authority to tax and couldn't, and so they weren't going to pay you.
And obviously that's whack.
right.
And but with the Constitution, the development of the Constitution, this what was happening was they were creating debt with other countries, and in order to pay those debts, they were trying to collect from the states the taxes, because the states were supposed to send a portion of their taxes to the government. The government couldn't tax people, but the states could.
Okay, and of course we're some warring some bitches.
Mhm.
And if you want to go to war, you got to have money.
Yeah.
Well,
So the federal had to come back to the states, and
The states weren't paying the government.
there was debt.
but and
Huge debt.
Not only that, the monetary system at the time was per each state. Georgia had its own money. The Carolinas had its own money. Virginia, Pennsylvania, everybody had their own money. So the federal government there needed to be a central government in order to standardize the currency and give the value.
Okay.
So basically what they said was, is Georgia, your dollar is the same as South Carolina's
Right.
dollar.
Right. Okay. Now, see, what's interesting about this is I mean, I like to think that I'm an above intelligence guy, you know, and any of the other hosts on any of the other shows are probably laughing hysterically in their houses right now. But at least I've got you guys fooled. So here's my point on this is that where I'm looking at it from a judicial standpoint, I look at the Constitution as being a document that gives me rights, that is written for me. It protects me. It's not about the damn government. The
But it
federal
states what the government can do.
Yeah, I mean,
It states what the government can do, which protects us in return.
and that's
basically.
where I look at it. So now you see, you're talking about currency.
But that's just one part of it.
Oh, I know,
But, I mean,
but I'm
and
just
it's like
saying,
she
isn't
said-
it amazing what individual people? We have 4 individual above average intelligence people, and we're on the air. We're live on YouTube. It's The World According to Mike, and we're talking about this document that's over 200 years old. Okay, and our interpretation of it. And I don't think anyone here is a constitutional scholar, are they?
No.
Did you?
I am the furthest at this table from,
Yeah.
like
I mean, I know
I just
Tara-
read this book like this week.
Yeah, but isn't this is good?
I've read that book about 18 times a year for the past 24 years.
I'm a sucker for the videos.
Yeah.
There is something called Crash Course.
and
you know, I
everybody's
love it.
right in what the Articles of Confederation did and how it transitioned to the Constitution, because the Constitution started laying groundwork for who is to do what, how the government is supposed to operate, what they're
What,
supposed
is
to
it?
do.
But
But and,
Is
and,
it?
Wait,
and
wait.
by- yeah.
Mike-
I don't see it that way.
Well,
In
okay,
the-
you
it
don't
just-
see it that way
Pat-
because
in the preamble,
Ooh, sit.
stay
no,
Stay.
she told me I had to be very careful today.
Uh-oh.
he's very passionate. I if I want to get a word in at all, I need to
I
put him
Well,
on.
you
I need to
guys
put him
know
on
me,
heel.
and Tara, you know with me as well. I talk very fast. My brain works very fast. Sometimes I say things that are complete nonsense, but for the most part, it's because of my passion for what we're doing. You know.
Yeah. Well, you even in the preamble, it defines what the Constitution it was being structured for.
Right.
There's 4 major things that it's being structured for. The first one being that it's establishing a justice system.
Right.
The second is that it is defining the way states should act to each other. You know,
Yeah, kind of like intercommerce and not being individual islands. They shouldn't be the
Yes.
12, 13. There's more. They were talking about 5 states around the Great Lakes and stuff like that.
public records should
Yeah.
transfer,
Well,
money should
I
transfer.
mean, think about this. Even back then, there was scheming going on because the 5 states that they were talking about adding on up around the Great Lakes they were going to be free slavery states.
Mhm.
Why did they want that? Because those 5 states would vote Democratic, and the previous slaves that lived in those towns would vote Democratic instead of Republic.
I don't think so, because the way that the Constitution was written, particularly when defining the acts between states, it is if a slave were to run away from the
Mhm.
state of Georgia and go up north where slaves are free,
Can't do that.
you can't do that because they would have to extradite that
they're-
person
exactly.
under criminal law
They
back
are
to Georgia.
property, not
So property can't vote.
right.
But if these 5 states were,
Well, and the other thing
Originated.
too is that
you see what I'm saying, and the people live there, they're
Well,
not
but-
going to be extradited.
but
And they can vote Democratic.
Even
It's-
Washington said that he fears that one of the banes of existence of the United States will be slavery, but it is not within the authority of the federal government to govern slavery. That's not what it was about. They were about commerce between the states and commerce
Okay.
overseas.
But here again, you know me, there's extradition, right? Somebody
Yes.
and that's a big deal. I mean, that is a very big part of this document. When it was written, it's very important. But here's the thing is that there's extradition. Okay. Who's paying to extradite this guy?
The state that wants him has to pay.
The state that wants him back, right?
Yes.
Okay. So they got to pay. Now, this is where some of this, the shade debt thing started happening.
Hmm.
States started owing other states. The federal government started owing states. States started owing the federal government. Who's in control of all this? You see what I'm saying? With
But-
nobody, no general one
The-
thing in
the-
charge.
In that portion of the Constitution where that's talked about, if the states are having problems with this, there is a clause in that article that gives the government the ability to go in and mediate for the states.
Yeah, but you can't. Even today, there's not supposed to be a debtor's jail. You're not supposed to lock people up for owing money.
But we do it.
Oh, I mean,
All the
Yeah.
time.
yeah,
we
child
we
support.
do
I
it
mean,
more than anything else.
They'll
now
have the
than we
guys
did
in jail
before then.
in Rockdale
Right.
County. Are in there for child
Debtor's
support.
prison was dissolved basically when we broke away from England. We
Yes.
we chose to dissolve debtor's prison and say, look,
Okay, but here, the government, the Shea issue, where everybody the debt was out of control.
right,
And this is where they
And-
kind of started looking around, and Washington said, Hamilton, you got a pretty good head for finance. You need to come up with something to get this under control, because every little thing that was going on started adding up. And when you can't collect money from somebody, and this is definitely goes to Christian Judeo type basis here, because that's where 7 years comes from on your bankruptcy. The Bible simply states after 7 years, if he hasn't been paid back, you have to let him go. And that's 7 years on your bankruptcy. That's where that comes from. So there's still these little inklings of the Christianity that was brought to this country in this document, even though the document specifically says separation of church and state.
wait a minute now. The
The separation
the
of church and
Constitution of the United States says nothing about separation of church and state.
You sure?
Yes.
Okay.
It doesn't.
I'm going
But-
to look, but I think it does.
But
the only
It-
thing that it does guarantee is that the government cannot involve itself in the church. Like it can't govern the church.
right.
Where you at, Tara?
From what I understand, I'm under the impression that it said that separation of church and state, meaning that they can't force you. Like, the reason that a lot of the Christians came to America in the first place from the colonies or the colonialists was because they wanted to be able to worship the way they wanted to worship, and that was being treaded upon basically where they were in Britain, and so it was kind of like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're talking about basically persecution that occurred in England was one of the big reasons why they said, "Hey,
that was one of the reasons, and they wanted no part of that here."
Right.
And so that was when they didn't want
they wanted the freedom to be able to talk about God the way they wanted to talk about God.
Well, you're getting now into freedom of speech and religion, but here's what I'm saying is, I think that these guys purposely put you have to have a answer to a higher authority.
They were religious men to begin with.
Absolutely.
They attended church on Sunday. They were devout Christians in their own way or whatever. Yes, and they used a model. They've done things from the Bible and transitioned it to the Constitution in some aspects, but the idea of separation of church and state was actually a comment that was made by Sarah, if you know, it's actually a comment that
Did you study? Did you study?
Yes, I studied.
Okay,
but I did not expect this to come up. But anyway,
man, that's the best. See, that's freedom of speech, brother.
Yeah, but
that's why I'm digging
what it was is he was saying that the church should not be involved in the government, in that it runs the government and makes decisions for the government versus the government, and also the government should not run and manage the church. That's where we get the separation of church. That it was one of those famous quotes. So
Thomas Jefferson, I believe.
Thomas Jefferson, thank you. I knew it was him or Samuel Adams. But
okay, but if that's true, then why was it so important to put in the First Amendment that we, the people, have the right to a religion, to practice our religion?
Because that was the whole premise behind it. Because in England, you had the Church of England.
Oh yeah,
everybody was a Protestant. Period.
Absolutely.
End of sentence. Have a nice day.
If you weren't, you went to Ireland.
What the First Amendment?
You became a Catholic. Yeah.
What the First Amendment reads is that Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, meaning the government can't declare we are a Christian country, we are a Muslim country. Right. We have the government does not have the right to dictate to you, the people, what your religion is.
And see, I think it goes a lot deeper than that. That I think right now what we're talking about is a thin line up on top, looking at a freedom of religion. That means I can practice whatever religion I want. And then you got me going way down into it, saying that the Constitution is a Christian-based or Christian faith document in which instead of saying me, the federal government, I'm the approving authority, I'm the highest answering authority. I think that the Constitution is basically saying that God is the high. I have no idea if something's beeping or buzzing.
I'm sorry, that was me.
They're freaking. I've got 5 screens and 4 tablets and my phone, and I'm wearing one of those vibrators, remote control vibrator,
the panty ones.
Yeah, little panty vibrators.
Oh man, those
it
are
keeps
good.
me awake.
But also, the First Amendment also covers your freedom of speech and your freedom of the peaceable assembly, and to be able to petition the government for grievances.
Right. I tell you what, Pat, let's do this. Let's go to our first commercial break. Okay. When we come back, let me read the preamble. Let's do this kind of in some shape or form. I know we went all over the place, and that's what happens in the world according to Mike. One, everybody's got to join the military. Okay. In the world according to Mike, everybody goes to the military. You know why? Because once you graduate high school, if you're not in college in that first year or two, you're going in the military.
Service means citizenship.
Yeah, Star Trooper. Was that
Starship?
Starship. That redhead is so hot. Okay, hey, we're gonna go to a commercial. It's the world according to Mike. Stay where you are. Call your friends. Tell them to call in when we get back, and tell me to shut up. I double dare you. It's the world according to Mike. We'll be right back.
Dang, we're getting into some deep stuff already.
There we go. It wouldn't come off lock. All right, remember, we're still on YouTube, boys and girls. So if you're going to say something mean to me, you better make it count. I got a gun, and I'll use it. Did y'all hear I got zapped by my own damn stun gun?
It wasn't me. It wasn't the first one.
Freaking 12 million volts, 4 milliamps. And we always goof. He's got one over here. He'll shock you on the morning show, And so I brought this huge one in. This is the most powerful one you can buy. 4 milliamps is the highest. 12 million freaking volts. Now get this. I'm playing with it. We're goofing off and all that other stuff. And Stephanie went in the bathroom, and Scotty put it up against the doorknob when she was coming out, and she was, "Oh, Jesus!" I throw it in my backpack. I throw my backpack over my shoulder. Got me right
Nah.
through the backpack. Locked me up like a brother stealing a freaking tire, man. I'm here to tell you.
I almost got myself shot playing with my taser.
Cool.
The taser went off, and in no time flat, the cop that was standing in front of me whipped his gun out and had it pointed at me. He was getting ready to shoot me.
Really?
That was awesome.
For some reason, this thing is just sitting here. Hey guys, sorry about that. It seems like my intro song just keeps playing over and over and over and over, which is kind of cool because it's Top Gun. If you like Kenny Loggins, I'm old. I can like Kenny Loggins. Plus, that came out when I was in flight school, so it's kind of like a given. So, all right, so we're back. How about that? How was that? Everybody good? It's just a whole bunch of my intro song there during the break. I'm sure our vendors love that. Terry, you still with us?
Yeah, who's Kenny Loggins?
Oh.
You can be quiet.
Sorry.
You can be quiet. Okay. In the studio, I usually sit over here during the other shows, I sit in the co-pilot seat, and Scotty sits over here, and all the studio lights for YouTube are pointing at this particular position. And I swear to God, I feel like I'm getting a suntan sitting here. When I stand
I can
up,
guarantee you're not. You're as white as ever.
I'm transparent. So when I stand up, I'm going to pull my shorts up or down, either one. I'm working on my tan lines. Is that cool? Everybody good with that?
Oh.
Hey, we lost 2 listeners.
You almost lost a visitor.
The hell with y'all. How about that? and just for the record, I'm not wearing any underwear. So think about that during the show. Try to concentrate.
Thong.
Hey, yeah. All right, it's the World According to Mike. We're back, and actually we're trying to have a little fun with the Constitution tonight. What I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to read the preamble. All right, and I purposely didn't read anything about the preamble today or yesterday or even this week. I didn't read or watch any videos, and I generally do about any topic that we're going to discuss. Now, everything else, Federalist Papers, the Constitution itself, of course, studied it all up. But I figured I'd read the preamble. So it was kind of like one of those things that I didn't want to come in with something already preconceived. Does that make sense?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound like I did a good job? Okay, thank you. That little dead air there is kind of scary. It's just like taboo. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was so great of you, Mike.
Yeah. Here, I'm trying to think of what's the radio term? Y'all suck. That's what the radio term is. So take that home in a shirt.
I was giving Tara a chance to shoot in there, and she didn't take it.
Let me tell you something. When she's
she's only going to hear this in an hour from now.
You're from Alabama. That was. Give us some love. Did you get that, Tara?
Wait, we gotta wait an hour.
Tara.
Hi.
You there?
I could hear all 3 voices at one time.
I know. Isn't
Can you
it
hear me?
cool? Yeah, it's called over talking each other. No, Pat kind of slammed you, and he said you wouldn't get that for an hour.
Oh, haha.
Yes,
funny.
Tough crowd. Okay, I'm gonna read this. I don't have my glasses.
You want me to read
Would
it?
you like me
No,
to read
I'm gonna read it.
I have it pulled up on the big screen.
Here, hand it to me. I'll hold it. I'll hold it
Look,
over here.
You know what? I find no humor in this whatsoever. All right. First thing, we the people of the United States. You got glasses? Let me see those bad boys.
Look at him. He's older than you.
So men get what you're like a nurse, you know this. Men get what's called presbyopia around age 40. And what it is it's due to the scratches on your eyeballs.
Nope, it's because the muscles in your eyes they get harder and harder.
That's glaucoma.
No.
That's why I'm smoking weed. Shut up. So the vertical lines in the whole, you can't focus on both of them at the same time.
Well, that's the problem then. All that
Yeah.
dust is scratching the crap out of my eyes.
Oh my God, these are nice. And I got to say, I look kind of sexy. I see why you wear them. You really need them, dude, because you look Chinese. I'm gonna go ahead and slam all my Asian brothers.
man. That's not
Go good, man. Dude. Go, boy. You know, there's a big advantage to dating sheep.
man.
Your kids never need sweaters.
Got me Doritos, man.
No, but check this out. I am drinking Budweiser, and I have some pork
Pork
rinds.
rinds. Oh wow! Oh my God! You just went full redneck.
Yeah. And I'm not wearing underwear. And I'm drinking a Monster and Budweiser. I'm drinking
So he can-
Budonster.
So he can be a wide
Wow.
awake drunk.
Monwuster.
No. This is beyond redneck. This is military redneck.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
If that was a rip it, like you'd be
Oh, yeah.
done.
Nobody knows what Rippets are. You got to. They're not in the United States, are they?
Yeah, they've
They
got
got
rippets
Rippets
here.
in the United States.
I've
never
seen
seen them.
Yeah.
Just so you know, Tara and anybody else, a Rippet is.
It's like half a monster.
Yeah, it's like it's like an energy drink that the Egyptians came up with, and then the Arabs marketed it,
All the
and it
caffeine
tastes
of
like
that
crap.
big-
And when you're deployed, you're dying for a soda, so you'll drink it. So yeah, they have like these incredible flavors, like pomegranate, and just tastes like absolute camel piss.
People never described it by its flavor. It was always, I want the
Or
green
Rippet.
one.
Yeah. Give me a purple.
Give me the
Hey,
purple one.
when I was working with those SF guys over at Phoenix, they used to get green Monsters by the pallet load,
Mhm.
and they would give me, flats of them. And Jenkins would drink them at night in the talk. But a green, the big green, the BFC
Yeah.
green
Yeah.
Monsters, I don't know, 40, 50 cups of sugar in each one.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the
Diabetes
preamble.
in a can.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my diabetes were running around. They were cute. They look like little dolphins. Oh,
The visual.
yeah. Yeah, you like that, huh? don't you?
Oh yeah, I'm getting that
All right.
tattooed on my app. That's my new tramp stamp right there.
A dolphin.
Your diabetes.
Now, is he going to say your diabetes, or are you going to say
It's gonna
military
be
Mike's
Mike's
diabetes?
diabetes.
Wow. I mean, I'm cool with it. Don't get me
It would
wrong.
be a little dolphin.
Aw. Little dolphins are cuter than dolphins. It's kind of like puppies in the water.
Wait. Oh no, that's a
Yeah,
whole.
they
that's
can't
that.
swim. They die eventually, but especially if you pay money for them. Don't throw them in the pool. It's a drag. Okay. So we, sorry, little tangent there. I have no inner monologue. All right. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, and provide for the common defense. God, I love that part. Promote the general welfare and secure the blessings, Christian, of liberty to ourselves, our prosperity, do ordain, another Christian word, and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
Okay, first off, I now see where it says welfare
Yes.
in the Constitution.
Yes.
Now we're screwed.
Okay.
We are
Okay.
screwed.
Yeah. So let's go back.
That means
Let's go
we
back.
have to.
Let's
That
go back.
means we have to support all those welfare recipients.
Yeah, I don't think they meant it like that.
I disagree.
Yeah. But
I'm
here,
totally with you.
let's-
But
Let's be realistic. What other country? I'm going to say two things. What other country has had a document like this last this long? One, and then what other country? You tell me. What country out there that isn't industrialized does not take care of the sick, lame, and lazy? Anyone? Because I've been everywhere but the two cold places, Antarctica and the one on the other side. And everywhere you go, the sick, lame, and lazy, and it's probably not fair to say lazy, but the sick, lame are taken care of by the government. Germany's got the best welfare program in the world. That's why a bunch of the Syrians went there. It's amazing.
Well, and China takes care of their
Absolutely.
elderly. They
And
don't
Yeah, but
have
that's a
nursing
difference.
homes like we have.
but that's
Yeah.
a difference, though. They take care of their elderly, but not. There's no
There's no welfare
there's
systems
no
like
welfare
we have.
in China. It's
I
basically
bet you there's something.
You will work.
Yeah.
We will find something
Well,
for you
I mean-
to do. You might be shoveling poo out of the street. It doesn't matter. We're going to find you
But they
something
don't-
to do.
they don't-
Poo.
But
They don't
take care-
have the unemployment, and they
Exactly.
don't have the laziness that we have
Right.
in this country on
because
welfare.
look, they look at the complex they built for the Olympics.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Well, okay, but since it
But-
went there, that's
but-
what I'm talking
but
about.
let's evaluate though. What and our country's supposed to be founded on a republic.
Yep.
Yes, we are
we
founded
are
on-
Yeah.
founded. They're
I could
founded
argue
on-
that, but it's only a 2-hour show.
Right, but No, wait a minute.
The word Democrat does not show up in the
I agree.
Constitution
And I
at
know
all.
that it's
And
based on a republic.
There's
state,
only
a
been
republic.
3 republics in history.
Donald Trump.
No, republics.
I'm joking.
Greece.
Okay, failed.
Yep. Rome.
Failed.
United States.
Failing.
There you go. You know why? Because the United States didn't learn from the first 2.
Yeah.
Because
They went Democrat.
The same thing that they're failing, that they failed from, we're doing now.
It's what it is it's the entitlements. I'm lumping a lot of things
Yes.
together,
Yes.
but they're pushing out more that you get no return from. Does that make
Yes.
sense? It's kind of a business deal
Hey,
there.
And the
You-
same
you
thing
did-
happened in Greece and Rome is
Right.
that they had
The
more and
working
more
class.
people
Mhm.
saying, I should have more, and they turned it more into a democratic.
Right. And they
Detroit,
moved into a democracy.
Baltimore. You want me
Right.
to keep going?
Millennials are the worst about that.
You're a
Like-
millennial, aren't you?
Yes, my generation is the absolute worst.
Well, let me ask you a question. Why are all the millennials going towards Bernie Sanders? I don't get that. That thoroughly
What
confuses
should be
me.
for?
Because they don't understand what's, they love the way socialism sounds on paper, but they don't understand how it's going to work. And they don't care how it's going to work. That's not my problem. That's the government's problem. You figure out how to make it work.
Obamacare.
All I know
the
is
people
I
that
don't
are
have
supposed
to
be
pay for
paying
these
The old
things.
guys like me are the 18 to 25 year olds.
They're not
It's-
gonna, they're not
there's a-
paying for squat.
It's a direct contradiction here. I'm confused.
Well, first off, you have to actually, when you pass the law, you actually have to know what the law says so that you can understand. Because the deal, passing of the law is the easy part, obviously, because Obamacare passed. The problem is that when they're voting for the law, they're voting on how to fund the law. It's not necessarily that they're passing a law. When they're passing the law, they're passing how they're going to pay for this law. That's what our government has come to. That's why it was. We'll see what's in it once we pass it. If they'd have known what was in it, they would have never voted for it, because there's no way to fund it. Because what you're banking on is that somebody 18 years of age to 25 years of age wants health care.
Yeah, I mean, they were supposed to pay like 3 times as much as
18
everybody
to
else.
25-year-olds don't go to the doctor.
No, hell no. Now here, okay, look, and I'm still piecing off of the preamble here, and the whole domestic tranquility. How does a government say that they're going to provide for that? That obviously has to go back to these entitlements. It obviously has to go with, we're going to give you a place to live, not buy your house or anything.
No,
We're going to give you safe communities. We're going to give you safe states.
It's not what they were saying.
Beer got me going tonight, baby.
What they were saying by the domestic tranquility is that they would be the referees in between the states. The government was seriously, but we don't have.
A listener just said no one in the government should get paid a cent.
They shouldn't. They should have a realistic salary.
Exactly. If it was performance based, they would all not be paid.
But Pat, the VA is performance based, and all they do is you put in a claim,
But it's
they
a government
stamp it
entity.
disapproved, and they throw it down the line, and they get credit for doing work.
Exactly. Yeah.
Teachers, you know what my son said to me yesterday? I said, what'd you do today? And he said, well, I kind of got to teach her math. And I said, Dino, I wish you wouldn't do that. And he goes, well, look, the honest to goodness truth is she's just teaching us so that she can get her bonus. He's 12. He'll be 13 this week.
Well, you know what? It's good that he sees that.
I've had run-ins with people on Facebook, and I know this is totally off track, of people who I honestly thought this woman was from like a foreign country, the way she was speaking, and she was asking for a job. She went on Facebook on a public site and was saying, I work for you, look after parents, 350, 8 hours, 12 hours. And it's like, what in the hell are you trying to say? And then, I asked her, are you from here? Is English your first language? Let me help you write an ad, because you're not going to get a job sounding like this. The girl was American.
Okay. She wasn't an anchor baby, or
No.
She wasn't.
No, I mean, no.
She was just a non-trained, non-educated graduate.
apparently she was supposed to be in college.
Well, how can you get
How
to
can you
college? if
get to
can't-
college
yeah.
with language that
Is
bad?
it- I mean,
Because nobody cares.
And let's give, well, the thing of it is let's give Tara an opportunity to expound on that, because that's what a lot of this generation is the millennials going into college with an uneducated sense of
they're letting the kids
Well, yeah,
skate by.
Well, okay. Well, maybe it's not fair to have Tara do that because Tara owns her own business.
I understand that,
and she's successful.
But
and
she knows the
yeah,
kids
but
are age.
I would say this. No, I would say this. I do not remember anything that I learned in school for the most part. I started educating myself once I graduated, and then once I started paying attention to politics and started questioning things, then I started really kind of realizing how I wanted to do my way. I didn't care about the way that I learned anything from basically from ninth grade to 12th grade was pretty. Yeah, high school. It was ridiculous. When I looked back, I had a teacher in my home economics class that was supposed to be learning how to sew. She didn't know how to sew because she was not a certified teacher. She was basically there as a fill-in, as a substitute because they had a shortage of teachers. So it's like I did not learn how to sew. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So our
That's just an
country is
example of the
being,
kind of BS.
it's not so much being degraded by the entitlements and the government paying everything out. It's just that the educational system, which is one thing. Before we pay taxes, before we do any of this stuff, what is the one thing that we all have in common? Education. Free education.
And I can agree with Tara on this
we don't
because
we shouldn't have the Bernie Sanders free education.
Well, I mean, think about it, man.
After high school, I was the same way. I got out of high school, I was dumber than the box of rocks. I mean, I was the white crayon. There was no color to me whatsoever. The most useless crayon in the box.
That's great.
I was an idiot. And it wasn't until I got tired of not being smart enough and I educated myself. Right. I was reading books all the time. I read the encyclopedias. I read dictionaries. I read all the most boring crap.
And I don't, I'm probably opening up a can of worms here. Did you went to college and everything?
Yes.
Okay. And you had a structured education?
Yes.
Okay. So did I. Are we onto something here about, and don't misunderstand, but attractive females? Are you guys not learning anything in school, and then you're coming out and we're having to wait until you have a passion to learn something because Tara didn't really allude to why she started doing this, and you're not really alluding to why. But isn't this weird?
Well, I do cook for a living, so I never really made it out of the kitchen.
Oh, whatever.
Certified sandwich maker.
I can understand where I can understand what they're saying, because when I came out of high school, I was like, okay, I know how to add, subtract, multiply, divide. I know how to write a sentence. I know how to read a book. I know basic chemistry. I know the elements.
Man.
But what I don't know is what I didn't know. I should say what I didn't know. I didn't know how to balance a checkbook. I didn't know what economics was, and I had 12 weeks of that in school.
Yeah.
So it's like whatever.
Economics for young people.
But what you didn't get coming out of high school, basically what you got in high school was enough to say I can fill out the application at a job.
Now, where did you go to school? Did you go to school here in Georgia?
I graduated Forest Park High School.
Forest Park, okay.
And this was before they had lost any accreditation and all that. And
for listeners, that's Forest Park is kind of southeast of Atlanta.
Due south.
Okay. Due south. I went to school, graduated from Stone Mountain High School, which is due east.
Yes. And
I can tell you that when I left high school, man, all the things that you said you didn't know, I knew. Yeah, I can't just say it was good teachers, because that wouldn't make sense, because they weren't necessarily good teachers. To graduate, you had to do your senior paper. Did you have a senior paper? It's kind of like a master's thesis.
No.
You didn't have to do a senior. I did a senior paper on Kung Fu. I was big in the martial arts when I was growing up. And let me tell you something. This thing took 2 months. I mean, we didn't have typewriters. Right. It's not that old. It's not like I was beating it out on a rock or something. For the record, I have done that. But it wasn't a chalkboard or nothing like that. You had to write it out.
Yeah.
And it was numerous. It was like 40-something pages. And it covered the origins and the categories involved and the different styles involved of Kung Fu as it came.
And I understand that and education has gradually declined over the years.
You and I are roughly the same age.
Yeah,
we gotta be.
but
I mean-
okay, you got to remember too. You have the federal education system,
right.
and we graduated when it was kind of still mostly the states. Then you have the state education system, but within the state, every district has its own education system. Each county
Right.
has its own education
Well,
system.
isn't that part of
And
Tara?
it's-
Help me out here. Article 5 with this convention of states. Wouldn't that put education back on the states?
Well, it wants to put everything back on the states, with the exception of what the delegated power, like whatever the powers each branch is supposed to have. We want to keep it restricted to that, so they cannot like abuse their authority. Because when it comes down to it, well, the states created the federal government, and it's up to the states to control the federal government. We want the states to have the power like they should, and the states pushed out ultimately and started taking the money, and you know what I'm saying, kind of became like the federal government's biatch.
Well,
You know?
Yeah,
Here's what I'm
exactly.
saying, though, is
When
why do we have to have education? This is what I think screwed up our education. Is when I was going through school, and then I immediately went in the military. As soon as I got situated in the military, I went to 19 different military schools. Okay, so I was gone all the freaking time just because of my job back then. All right, but I went to college.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? We had little college outpost or satellite wherever
Yeah.
I was stationed.
Every military installation had
Everyone.
had a
Yeah.
When
satellite.
the whole system got screwed up when they said, you know what, we want everybody to have the same and equal education.
Well, how come you
Well,
and Tara didn't come out of school with structured education?
Well, the thing of it is where it went wrong is this one statement: no child left behind.
Oh, but that
Because-
was,
no,
That
because
was
that's-
way after we finished
Yeah.
school.
Yes, exactly. That's when.
But
we
it was
finished
it was
the-
screwed
because
up before
that's when
that.
The federal
who said
gov-
that? Who said that? Carter?
No,
Bush.
That would be
Bush?
no.
Who
Was
said that?
Nancy-
Terry, you know?
I think that was Nancy Reagan.
Oh, sure. Pick on the lady. She just died.
No. I'm
Too
not
soon?
saying, no.
Too
because
soon.
Okay.
She's definitely a fantastic.
No, I think
But I
it
know
was
what
right
you're
after
saying,
her.
'cause
I
you know
think
what?
the first
when I was
Bush.
saying that and I was talking about you two not coming out with structured, I was sitting there thinking, man, I wonder what year that was.
It's not that I
It's-
didn't come out
it's-
with an education. It's and by the way, thank you for suggesting that I may have been a good-looking girl in high school. I wasn't. I was the biggest geek on the planet. Nobody knew my name. I
Well,
was
you know,
probably
sweetie,
shoved in a locker more times than
You
your
have-
dirty books.
You have done the whole ugly swan, beautiful swan thing.
Yeah, I'm going back to
No,
Caterpillar here.
no, whatever.
Um,
Good try. I don't do ugly.
But-
Pat, I do you. Just for the record. If you're not watching on YouTube, you should, because
well, you
you're
know
a
what?
sexy man.
Yeah, I'd fall asleep. You'd fall in love.
Well, you never go back to women.
well,
so-
you better be better than Kim because we never stop hearing about that.
but no,
Ouch.
I mean, you know, the
Touche.
education system through the states was declining, and then that became, I think, one of Nancy Reagan's champions was that no child would be left behind, and the federal government absorbed the education standards and started dictating out to the states what they would do for an educated.
But then we had to lower our standards.
exactly
for the
some states had to
lowest-
come up, some states had to drop down in order to meet.
Yeah, thank
equal.
you. So somebody just or Jacob. It was Jacob just texting. He said it was the No Child Left Behind Act of 2001.
2001. I'm very
Okay,
sorry. Yeah.
so yeah, I graduated right before that.
I graduated in 02.
Oh, okay, so you're a left behind baby.
Oh,
I guess so.
Unfortunately, she was
Well,
one of
but-
those that was left
But
behind.
she wouldn't have been caught by that because they would still. You would. I mean,
It wouldn't
the
have
school-
trickled down.
It
that
wouldn't
far,
have
yeah.
trickled down.
Yeah,
It wouldn't.
Not the
It doesn't.
stupidity.
Right. It would start at the elementary
Okay.
middle school.
So it wasn't the No Child Left Behind Act of 2001 that caused. There's
The
only
dumb
four
effect-
of us involved in our
dummy-
listeners, and nobody can call in because it's got a block says Tara can stay on the line. But people are texting in. But I'm not trying to piss anybody off. But the simple fact of the matter is when our Constitution is saying push it down to the state, and we are seeing honestly in this one scope, this one sphere called education, we are seeing where the federal government is destroying it at its core. I'm not even going to get into medical. I'm not even going to get into the military. I'm not going to get into any of that crap right now. I mean, we'll talk about the branches of the government, but you hear what I'm saying here?
The purpose-
federal government has purposely got involved in something that should be at state level, and the end result, and anybody with intelligence has got to look to see, does the end result is it worth? Are the
No.
side effects worth it? And
No, this is definitely where we're screwing up. Is the Constitution was set up to give the states the power, because demographically people are different in this country. This country is way too large to say we all have to be the same.
well, isn't that the democratic or socialistic theme or ideology?
Yeah,
is
let's all be the
everybody,
same.
yeah, Janet Nation, Rhythm Nation, Janet
we-
Jackson, Rhythm Nation.
We
I know
are
she's
going
hot.
to
I'd look at
have-
her. You see half a boob, and I'm like distracted, uneasy. 2 beers and I'm a slut. That's why I brought a 6-pack.
Show him your nipple, honey.
Do it. Jesus Christ. Hey, look, we're gonna have to go to a commercial here in a minute. So say your piece here in a minute, and then we'll take another break. My beer is getting warm. Yeah, no, I didn't mean that
Alcohol
nobody had to
abuse.
say anything. So
Alcohol
Pat's
abuse.
deep in study. I'll make my point, and then when we come back, we'll get on something else. But let me tell you something. I fully and honestly believe that there are way too many people involved in our education, from the federal guy who sits at the damn table all the way down to the freaking assistant parent helper. There, it's screwed up. It really is.
The Department of Education.
Yeah, I mean,
The Department of
whole-
Education.
and here we had a lottery here in Georgia, for listeners that are outside of Georgia. And Tara, we had a lottery that went over $1 billion. Now I don't know if that's all across the country or what, but here in Georgia we had a lottery that went to like $1.4 billion. Now the deal is generally you're going to lose half of that. Let's just easy math here, and that parts of that go to education. Correct?
Correct.
Everybody? Okay. Now let me tell you something. You give me $500 million and I can solve anything. Think about it.
Absolutely.
What problem in this country could you not solve with $500 million at your disposal? There wouldn't be a homeless vet.
But you know what they're going to do with it? They're going to go buy a whole shitload of tablets that they're going to give to kids who have
Yeah.
absolutely no respect for what they have. They're going
My-
to break them like
my-
they do their iPhones,
My
and that
oldest
money's
son,
gone.
before he went to Southern Polytech, the summer before he went to Southern Polytech, he worked at high schools here in Georgia clearing those iPads. Now,
Yes.
look, I think it's a great idea. There's no reason to be printing out books. Let's be honest. That's
It's
the way-
outdated.
No,
It's
no,
out-
no, no,
it's
no,
out.
no.
Right,
You
so-
can. I learned far more from a regular book.
And believe it or
No,
not, I don't.
I'm electronic.
if I spend too much time reading a computer screen,
Right.
I get severe headaches.
Well, I mean,
I
yeah,
do
but
better reading a book now. Just glancing and reading a couple little things here and there,
Right.
that's not a problem.
but porn. Look at porn. That's a perfect thing right there.
Why? What do you know about
Well,
porn?
porn
What,
and
what do you know?
paper-
What did you tell him?
Yeah, porn on paper is like whatever. Porn, digital.
Well, yeah, porn
Wow.
on paper, man.
You
If
can
stick it, get it
Photoshop
stuck together,
yourself
dude,
into
you are-
it
You
and-
aren't freaking
Wow, that conversation went bad. Let's go to a commercial. Terry, you still with us? We didn't lose you on that one.
I'm still there.
Yeah, she's like, oh crap. All right, guys. Hey, it's the
She's like-
world according
she's
to
like-
Mike, and we're making a mess of the Constitution. But you know what? We're not the first ones to do it. So, world
Nope.
according to Mike, we'll be right back. Oh boy! All right, we're still
Woo!
live on YouTube, guys. Because I'm not going to go through all that every time. Is it playing my music again? It is.
Hey, speaking of intros, I think I'm gonna do with that song "Light 'Em Up."
Okay. Jacob, is it just constantly playing my my intro music from the old Guns and Gadgets? Please let me know, because I hear it playing, but if I start pushing buttons, ooh, brother. who
Hey, I
knows
got a
what's gonna
pretty
happen.
interesting quote from Benjamin Franklin about the Constitution for you.
What you got?
Benjamin Franklin, a democracy is 2 wolves and a small lamb voting on what to have for dinner. Freedom under constitutional republic is a well-armed lamb contesting that vote.
Let's go. Yeah, man, it's still playing Kenny Loggins. I don't, you know what? I'm not. Harry, you still with us?
Yeah, it's kind of cutting out.
Well, yeah, we're all kind of leaning back. We're getting tired. I'm half drunk, so
I'm still here. I'll keep
I
you
was
company.
I was drinking me.
not you.
Not
Bonus
you.
round, man. I mean, Tokyo. All right, so it's stuck on Kenny Loggin. It's funny. I'm texting the engineer on duty tonight. He's gonna come running in here. What? really care.
That doesn't sound like Kenny Loggins flying to the danger zone.
It is, dude. Because
No,
when I
that's
used to
not.
do that
That's-
show,
that's
Guns
like-
and Gadgets.
That's like somebody's remake of it,
yeah,
like
Jacob
a
even said it's
Atreyu
going
or
to-
something.
Oh yeah, because we can't. The station plays 24/7,
Right.
And you have to pay for all that. The royalties on music and everything else. This kind of stuff right here, our graphic artist Chris Baker, he handles this. He made a really cool video for me. I really don't know why it's just continuously doing that, but I'm gonna try some. Boy, if it jacks up, we're just gonna go back live and leave it alone for the rest of the night. And then when we're done, we'll just run out of here and tell Scotty, I don't know what the hell happened. Yeah, well, that didn't work.
Are
Here
we,
he comes.
are we
Okay.
still looking for a Great Dane?
No, Scotty,
No.
it's
Why?
stuck on it's looping on Kenny Loggins.
supposed to be because you're supposed to be talking.
No, I told this. We're on a break right now.
You didn't take a break last week, and we talked
So-
about you not taking a break
Okay.
this week.
No breaks for you.
No, I mean,
So-
Get back to work.
So of course it's
okay, stop doing it so damn fast.
I can't because right now you're wasting valuable airtime.
I know. Give me a song or something to play when it's.
I am. Tell everybody you apologize. You're still learning.
I apologize. Scotty jacked it up.
No, no. Riri Mike is still learning, y'all, and we weren't having breaks tonight. No break for you. You make shoes.
Somebody got to make Papa that money.
All right, here we
Okay,
go.
so look.
Let's go back live.
Well, no. You just had to learn wrong.
Whoa.
Okay, so look. You'll go back live at 20:04.
Hi.
Okay.
So that gives
Okay,
you
yeah.
5 minutes.
Okay. Cool.
So we knew it was a gamble tonight. But apparently, where the outside unit was messed up, it's been pumping oil back this way. So now he's got to come back tomorrow and fix an inside part. But do you know what that means? It means I have no air tonight.
Dude,
I don't want to hear you say it's hot.
it's freaking hot.
I got to try to
All the
sleep in this.
No, I couldn't. I'd put a freaking cot
I
on the
told
porch.
my wife, I said, I'm
can't
going to go to
sleep
the
with her.
bus.
You know what I
I
used
just
to
like
do?
drop cord in.
There you go.
In Afghanistan, we had those cheap ass little air conditioner heater things, and every one of my B-Hub bitched at me. It was like freaking the Antarctic.
I never slept in the same place twice, so
I've heard that about you.
yeah. Have you?
It's just so stupid, man. Why does she say stuff like that? All right, Terry, you
What?
there?
You know
Yeah, I'm
about
here.
Okay.
Afghanistan.
Yeah, we had
Don't
a
even
little-
start.
We had a little engineering issue. He straightened it out, I think. We're going to go
Yeah, I can
back
hear it all.
live in 4 minutes, 3.5 minutes. So take a break, smoke a blunt, do a line.
Ooh, got one?
No.
Damn.
Can you imagine if I did drugs? Jeez,
Not
I'd
a
be
line, a
weird.
blunt.
Oh, well, still dope. Yeah, if I did drugs, I'd be so freaking weird. Good Lord. That would just be.
I do drugs all the time, but mostly because they're prescribed to me and it makes me a nicer
Oh.
person.
It does. Trust me, it does.
Oh,
When I can
that's
walk
funny.
in the when I can walk in the house and she's going,
Yeah,
Hi,
man.
Hi, honey. How you doing?
Yeah.
How was your day?
Smiles, man.
Hell
Smiles are
yeah.
good. Yeah,
Nope.
yeah, man.
We decided
hugs,
that
no
I
slugs.
absolutely needed that when he would come home from work and I would have one of the dogs up against the wall with a
Hey, now this is a PG show. Jesus. Does she
You know,
choke out
no.
the pets?
what he used to do when he would come home from work is because everybody knows that me and Mountain Dew, I usually don't have Coke. It's usually Mountain Dew. So he would walk in, he would open the garage door and stand by the garage door and then crack it open just enough, roll a Mountain Dew in there and throw a candy bar behind it, close the door and wait for me.
Oh, that's a good idea. Kind of use it like a stun gun.
No, it was
Or
it was a
stun
grenade, a
Yeah.
PMS grenade.
Yeah. A PMS grenade.
Yep.
Yep. Works every time.
I know somebody who need one of those last week.
But the grenades had to get up bigger and bigger and bigger because
Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
I'm throwing in a 6-pack of 2 liters
Shut up.
and I'm throwing in a 6-pack of 2 liters and 4 pounds of Giordera chocolate.
Oh, well, that's expensive chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Oh, well, that's a
Yeah.
good deal. Fake it every once in a while.
Well, it depends. If it's the leftover,
does
we're
all the
good.
time.
If it's the right over, we're really screwed.
My ex-wife, her cycle was a little screwed up. She was usually on it for 3 weeks and off for 1. and that usually lasts.
Well,
the
yes,
weekend.
because the week before is the horny week.
No, not for her. She grew fangs at night and would bay at the moon. You're gonna die, Michael.
I don't do that. I sound more like Chewbacca at night.
That's kind of a turn on.
Especially when you wake up in the morning and you've got like this 2-foot hair in your mouth. What the hell did I do?
Wow.
That's why she calls me a smiling Roman with hair between my
Oh.
teeth.
Oh.
Wow. Man, you know what we need to do is, my brain, my little brain, man.
The fact that
That's
I
why I
heard
don't
laughter on the other end. Of it.
I heard Tara giggle a little bit. Hey, check this out. We ought to have like a show that's pre-recorded, but we'll run it at like 1:00 in the morning. It'd be like sex talk or something like that. That'd be cool.
Oh, yeah, I could do that
Oh yeah,
all day long.
yeah.
That's my show.
We could pre-record it.
Oh,
That'd be fun.
dude. Oh,
Don't show me any pictures. I'm on the air, man. Objects appear to be larger than they really are.
You said you wanted to keep this funny. Show him a dick pic.
Oh my God, let's go back live. You guys are killing me. Oh, losing complete train of thought. We got about another hour of this. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Terry, you ready?
Mhm.
We wake you up? Sorry about that. All right, there's my music. So here we go. Going back live. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all shapes and sizes, we're back. We were just discussing the possibility of having a sex talk pre-recorded show. I'm sure the owner is upstairs or in his house and going,
No.
what the hell? I don't think so. Just like the advertisement. So that'd be great. No, let's not do it.
Starship.
I was just man, as soon as I said that, I looked up, both of y'all were looking at me smiling. God, where'd I find y'all? And are there any more?
Just follow the Cheshire Bridge Road.
Woo!
Just follow the Cheshire Bridge Road.
All right, before we went on break, I was bashing the overpaid, underworked, ridiculous Board of Education that starts at the cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, you know what? Yeah, have somebody, part of the cabinet. Yeah, have somebody overlooking it. But God, what does the rest of the 57,000 stages down to a principal? What the hell do they do? What
They
what is it that
hide.
They
They
do.
hide in their offices and collect paychecks. That's pretty much
You
for the
remember
most
me.
part.
I used to work 16, 18-hour days, right? I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, that's what we do,
Sure.
16, 18-hour freaking days, 7 days a week. You don't know what day of week it is. You know what day of week it is what the color on the damn spreadsheet is. Purple is that day.
It's a purple day.
You work your ass off so much that at the end of a 16-hour day, one, you're physically, mentally, and emotionally exhausted. Two, you've accomplished quite a bit. But you're not done. Did you ever notice in the military, you're not done?
Nothing's
It
ever
was
done.
no. It's
No,
like
you're never done.
Groundhog Day. Every
No,
day
no.
you get up, there's more
Right.
stuff to do.
Okay,
The same
so,
amount of stuff in
alright.
the same pile.
Well,
And as far as I was
and
concerned,
there's
we were
always
underpaid,
an
so-
email. There's always an
Oh,
email.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Don't
there's-
even get me started. But I used to walk from my office to the chow hall, like when we were at Fort Gordon doing that training exercise, and walk back. And Captain Stahl would be yelling at me, going, aren't you going to answer that damn email? And I'm like, when did you send it?
2 minutes, 2 minutes ago.
Like 5 minutes ago. Oh.
Well,
And then you've got all these people in the Board of
then-
Education.
Now it's like, try a text message next time.
Oh, isn't this kind of crazy that you have all these people and basically they're just pushing paper around and everybody jumps on me because I want Trump. The reason I want Trump is Trump's going to look at this like a business. And you know what? If you're sucking down a salary,
If you're just
And you're
wasting
not doing
oxygen in the
anything?
office,
you're out of here. And I'm not going to say that you're fired thing because the man did a reality show. So what? Ronald Reagan was a freaking
No.
Western actor.
he's going to
Yep.
go in like every drill sergeant that has ever had that little moron that does everything the wrong way. And what's the one story? The basic training. There was a kid that was just so beyond help that the drill sergeant handed him a plant, and he had to carry that plant with him everywhere he went to replace the oxygen from the system.
That's beautiful. Don't tell Scotty that. Scotty will
love
have me
that.
carrying around a freaking plant. Coming in the studio with a fern, I
All
like
right,
ferns.
we've kind of beat up the portion of
Yeah, okay. I'm done with that. And you know what? If you notice, I'm scared to get into all of our freedoms, that part of it. And God knows, man, the Bill of Rights, we're just going to have to do on a different. We're going to have to do the Bill of Rights on a different night,
Yeah.
probably, because once you start getting into those, man, and just like the separation, the separatist papers.
What you have to do is you have to do the Bill of Rights as they were, because 1 through 10 were the first.
Exactly. Yeah.
Were the first.
Now, okay, so let me ask you a question about that, because I know you're kind of knowledgeable about those. Let me ask you a question. Okay, so they write this document, and it's replacing the Articles of the Confederation, right?
Yes.
Okay, so they write this document, and before they get done with this document, they already have 10 changes. Correct?
You're talking about the amendments?
Yes.
The reason that they had the amendments is because when they had to have a 2/3 vote
Right.
in order to ratify
So
the Constitution.
9, what was it, 9 out of 15? 9 out of 12, 13?
I think there were only
13.
yeah.
There's 13.
So they
there
had
was
to have
13.
9.
Yeah, they had to have 9 out of
They
13.
had to have 9.
But out of the 13 states, there were enough holding back saying we won't sign this Constitution unless we have these amendments.
Okay, and that's government, right? That's
Right.
politics.
But the thing of it is you have the
yeah, one of
you
those.
have you have the articles, all right, and all the articles. It starts at Article 1.
Well, I mean,
Congress and the Senate,
right,
or the Senate and the House, and then the Article 2 is the executive branch, and Article 3 is the judicial branch. Blah
Right.
blah 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 blah.
Right.
When it gets down, they wrote the Bill of Rights before they ever wrote the Constitution.
I've never heard that before.
The Bill
It was already that was
the
part
Bill
of the
Rights,
Federalist
really?
Papers.
They were part of the Bill.
Holy turd
So
monkeys.
what? And that's why everybody says, "Well, it's
Wow.
in the Bill of Rights." Well, yes, the Bill of Rights was adopted over into the
I have,
Constitution.
I have never heard that before.
as the first as the amendments. So what they did was they took
Who I'm
the
talking about? This is great.
exact because what's so great about it is especially in this day and age, even the United States Supreme Court is a total tard when it comes to the Constitution.
Right.
Because when the Constitution was written, these men were when these men were sitting in a room thinking, all right, the First Amendment will give freedom of religion. Why? Because the King of England said you didn't have a freedom of religion, you had to be this religion. We're going to write in there that we have freedom of speech because the King of England said that if we ever spoke out against him, we would be tarred and feathered, or we could be killed, or we could be put in prison.
Bonus round.
Okay, we have all these things. The Second Amendment, the right to keep and bear arms, because the King of England tried to confiscate weapons from
Well,
the
also
colonists.
too, and I didn't really want to get into it, but you're going to bring it up. I'm going to tell you. To me, the right to bear arms. You know what that means is, and I'm trying to think, and that's what I've been doing all week. Is whenever I'm working on this, I try to get that mentality of that guy. Okay,
Right.
that guy that's got a family and got a hot wife, and okay, maybe it was a little fantasy there, but okay, so I'm living on a farm, whatever, and let's say the government does show up. Now, God knows, do they dress different? Because now everybody's in a suit, right?
Right.
So how do they dress? One, how do they identify themselves? And then they're going to tell me that they're going to take my firearm away. No, it's just not going to happen.
Right.
So by me not abiding by that, okay, so now all of these things get written up. The way I look at it is that I don't really have any of this. The government's trying to take my guns. What that says to me is that however many guns they got, I should have. They got it. They got,
type and whatever. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it should be fair.
The whole point that I'll circle back around, because you have freedom of the press, which means that you can put in print anything you would like to say about the government. Why? Because King George said that if you wrote anything bad about him, he would tar and feather you, prison you, or kill you. You have freedom of speech. You have the right to assemble. All of these things revolved around the fact that if you said anything negative about King George, yet today, the press feels that it needs to know the name and details of the guy who raped somebody on the college campus. No, because if you really think about it, you're infringing upon his right to a fair trial, because you're going to try him in the media first.
Yeah, but the media today, they don't even care about being accurate as much as they care about being first.
Right.
Exactly.
And that's the thing.
Why the hell does
But
that matter?
it also means that they lack moral turpitude in order to conduct their job, because their job is to report All right. Their job is not to infringe upon the individual's right, but they can infringe upon the government's right all they want because it's here in the Constitution.
Right.
All right.
Hey, Terry, and I don't mean to break it up, but before we get into, I'm deflecting on you on
Yeah,
the Bill of Rights. Tara, you there? You still with us? You fall asleep?
Yeah, I'm there. A little bit.
And I was texting you there. Can you, if you would, please break down the three branches of government and give us an opportunity to talk about each one?
Yeah, well, the judicial, basically the judicial branch, they're supposed to ultimately not make the law, obviously, but they kind of more like they discern what is and is not constitutional. You know, so they're supposed to literally, if there's a case that's brought to them, they're supposed to look at it and say, yes, this is not constitutional, or no, this is not constitutional, or yes, it is. And ultimately, they're supposed to just interpret the law, and they're not, and you know what I'm saying, and rule kind of based on that. So and also they're supposed to take things that the states don't handle. Like if there's a case that the states, for whatever reason, it needs to go to a higher court for review, it would go to the Supreme Court because, you know.
How does it get selected? I've always wondered, how do you, let's say, because, you know, I'm thinking about Larry Flint or something like that, you know, how would Military Mike, because I got some real beefs, how would Military Mike get in front of the Supreme Court?
How would you get in front of the Supreme Court?
Yeah, I mean, can't you bring your...
It doesn't go directly to the Supreme Court. It would get tried in lower courts, and
let's say I want to sue the federal government.
Hey, you can't.
Well,
I can. Sue. We talked about this earlier. I can sue anybody I want.
You can sue anybody you want, but you can't sue the federal government.
And where's that written? Don't get me started. See, this is what I'm trying to act like the average Joe here. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to act like, you know why we got knuckleheads? You know why we got dumbasses drinking beer on patios all weekend?
And I think we're
talking trash about the government because they don't know.
Tara would probably go with along the lines of, you're going to wind up being heard at the state court level first. And if they deem that your case is worthy, then you would be moved up to the district federal court.
Or it would be tried. And if you decided that,
like an appeal process,
you would have to appeal it to get to the Supreme Court is basically an appeals process, because every time you don't get the judgment you want at the next higher level, they have to decide whether or not this is now a constitutional problem.
Tara, let me ask you a question. I've committed murder. And well, I guess I have. So I've committed murder and I'm tried for it. And they're going to kill me. State of Georgia is going to kill me. Of course, from what I understand, it automatically goes to an appeal. Correct?
You get appeals.
Okay, yeah, it's like automatic. Okay, well, let's say that I continue to appeal this, and can I push that up to the Supreme Court? Because look, where does it give the federal government or the state government the right to kill me?
Well, because if you're a citizen of that state, or if the murder was committed in that state, that's the state's problem. The federal government should not be involved in every single thing that we do. It's just a state should handle their shit, and then if the federal government, usually it's like a situation where if it's a constitutional issue, it's kind of
Albany. Go Amber Alert. LIC QBD 1126. Go 2003 Gold Kia Optima.
If it's a federal crime, then the federal government would be brought in. But if it's a state. You know, if it's a crime that's committed in the state and you're tried in the state, the federal government really doesn't have any business being involved in that.
Okay, but the point I'm trying to make is it's a felony.
Well, but the Supreme Court also has the right to deny
an appeal.
They can sit there and say, you based on the evidence that's been prepondered through the first several courts, we find with the lower court we're not even going to hear your appeal.
Okay, I thought the Constitution gave me the right to a fair and speedy trial.
Yes, it does.
Yes.
Okay. Within my peers.
And that doesn't give you the right. It doesn't give you the right. It protects your right. It doesn't give you rights. It protects your rights. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so what gives me the right to appeal? And I don't know that you know the answer.
Because that's just the legal
here.
Process that's been established.
Okay, how do I get to the Supreme Court? I'm a citizen.
You need you'll need to argue in order to get in front of the Supreme Court is you will need to argue something that is constitutional.
Killing my ass is constitutional. It's over here. Danielle, it's over here.
Yeah, it was on mine too.
People are trying to call in, and I'm not going to deal with that.
Albany, go Amber Alert,
This is an
LIC,
Amber Alert
QBD 1126, GA 2003 Gold Kia Optima.
There's people that are trying to call in. I'm not going to deal with callers tonight because I've asked Tara to do this, and it's been planned out for a little while, and it just worked out.
Even each of the states has their own constitution. Most of them pattern themselves after the federal constitution. But the thing of it is this is the process that the states have set up so that you have a step-by-step process.
But you do have the right to ask the Supreme Court to hear it, and they will look at your case and and try to determine if your state is not railroading you.
Yeah, well, I think you guys are missing the point. And maybe you know what, when you're missing the point and I'm the one trying to give you the point, and it's my fault. I'm not doing it right. Could be the Budweiser. Listen, this is what I'm trying to say. Terry, you there? Because I need your input on this. Here's the thing. Listen to me. We the people, that includes me, Military Mike. I want to get in front of the Supreme Court because I feel that you do not constitutionally have the right to take my life, even though I've taken someone else's. But you see what I'm getting at? How do I bring it? How do I get it to that level? Because when they wrote this document, I think they could have got the average Joe could have probably got to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, but there was like a third of the population. That's one of the reasons why they try to keep everything at a state level, is because if every Tom, Dick, and Harry, yeah, I said the D word, if they show up and they're like, hey, I want to see the Supreme Court, that damn thing would be open 24/7. It'd be the next 7-Eleven.
Good. You said,
well, but but now your problem is when
you've got all those frivolous cases sitting in front of them.
Now what you've got is you've got somebody arguing the fact that they don't believe. All right, the Supreme Court.
I'm pro-life. You can't kill me.
The Supreme Court passed down years ago that it's to the states whether they have the death penalty or not. That's why the death penalty is not nationwide.
Do you believe in the death penalty?
Yes.
Yes.
And you do too? Tara, do you believe in the death penalty? Or not?
Chirp, 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 chirp.
Tara. Wakey, wakey. Did I lose you?
That may have been the beep, beep.
Yep.
That might have been the beep.
You know what? I'm going to ask for your assistance here. Can you hit redial? Tara, we're going to try to call you back. Okay. I don't believe in the death penalty. Say what you want about me.
No, that's your belief. That's fine. I mean, and
there's no death penalty in Germany, right? And I never locked my doors. I lived there for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Because let me tell you something. And
but there's a different different climate over there
with the Polizei
and the law.
Well, yeah, jail is Hey, sorry about that. I'm not sure what happened. Are you done? Do you need to go?
No, not at all.
Okay. So what I'm talking about here is that, I mean, I've traveled around the world and I've seen police, and the United States. Okay. Now, we're talking about it on the morning show. Okay. Some kid robs a place, shoots at a cop. The cop jumps him, gets him in a headlock. And now the kid's father is suing the police department. What about the whole robbery and gunshot at him thing? Right. But okay. So, now that would never happen in Germany.
Oh, no.
It's never going to happen in Turkey.
Oh, and a matter of fact, in Russia, the cops will beat you just for asking a stupid question.
Right. And in Afghanistan, the cops will beat you and take your stuff because they're not getting paid by the government.
Right.
So, okay. So we're losing the ability to enforce the laws that the judicial, right? I mean, isn't that where the laws come from?
Okay. The Congress writes the law. The president, the executive branch enforces the law. The judicial branch adjudicates the law.
Is that right?
Yes, because
that's for federal law. You're talking about civil law on the local level.
Well, I'm basically just saying that I thought the executive branch, do they enforce? I thought the judicial branch was the enforcement.
Because it is the responsibility of the president of the United States to appoint the attorney general.
Okay, makes sense. And without getting into a whole bunch, he basically puts in the bid for the Supreme Court justice, which we're going through right now with the loss of Scalia.
Yeah.
So, who was an amazing man, which I followed in the military, and it was just great. It was just so cool.
Don't ask me about my conspiracy theory.
Well, they did find some weird stuff. Yeah, you know, but my brother Scott, I got a half brother named Scott. He's an extremely intelligent young man. He lives up in Connecticut. I can talk bad about him. He's not. I'm sure he's not listening to me. And my sister Dawn. My sister Dawn is a doctor, and she's up in Toronto. She basically is R&D keeping mad cow disease out of Canada. She left. She lived in China for a while. I mean, you know, chick's making $500,000 a year. And she doesn't want to be in the United States because she doesn't want to pay $250,000 in taxes. You know,
no brainer.
Yeah. So my brother, he's up in Connecticut, and we were talking about this the other day. He said, you know, as smart as I am, he's an IT guy. He goes, as smart as I am, I got trapped in the tinfoil hat thing too. And then my other brother, Chris, he's texting me all day today, telling me to watch InfoWars because have you ever watched that show, Alex Jones?
We don't even have TV.
Yeah. Well, it's YouTube. This is generally YouTube, and this guy's, you know. Conspiracy. You know how they dealt with conspiracies when they were writing the Constitution, right?
Well, yeah, everything was done in complete secrecy.
Yeah, I mean, it was handled. Now, I'm not agreeing with that, but most of the time, people will agree with something if it doesn't affect them. And I'm not. I know that the population has grown and all that other stuff. My big concern here is the Board of Education is just overinflated. It's wasting money. It's a joke. Now we've got a judicial system that is so
out of touch.
I spilled hot coffee on my vag. Yeah. You know, you're suing people for this. You're suing people for that. The systems are so bogged down. The judges, is there no, and I don't know any judges. Is there no authority? Is it because now this is what I was told here in Rockdale, Canada. They used to have a guy named Sidney Nation. He was tyrant, and I had heard that many times in his courtroom. He said he didn't care what was going on anywhere else in the world other than that courtroom because he was God. He was God in that courtroom. So I don't understand why it's not going the other way. How come a judge isn't saying you're stupid? It was hot coffee. You spilled it. Get away from me.
Well, but the thing of it is when you choose to go to trial, you have one of two choices. You can choose trial by judge or trial by jury. If you get a judge for you spill hot coffee on your vajayjay, he's probably going to do that. You were just plain stupid. Why did you put the cup between your legs or whatever? It doesn't matter.
Right.
All right. If you get a trial by jury,
they're the jury of your peers, and they're just as stupid.
So you think they're just as stupid?
Let's look at Clayton County with 27 counts of 27 felony counts against the current sheriff. This was before he was reelected. Okay, and all of a sudden, 27 counts were dismissed because they found him not guilty. Okay, so let's wait a minute. All right, so if you can have that, is that not self-explanatory enough? I mean, seriously.
Okay, but I did a paper when I was in South Carolina. I was Major General Akers' bodyguard, and he used to make us do homework. It was a trip. That guy was a trip. I did a paper on a woman that had 14 DUIs.
Okay,
14 DUIs, and she's still
out driving around.
She the one that got her was the 14th, where she was drunk. She went off the road. She crashed into a house and killed a little girl that was sleeping in a recliner in the living room. When she went to trial and she was asked to speak on her behalf, you know what she said? I only have one question. And everybody was all ears. And she went, why was the little girl sleeping in the living room? Man, fight broke out, you know? So is that...
Yeah, trying to turn the responsibility back on the parents. And that's why we're having such a huge problem right now is a lot of courtrooms listen to the smoke and mirror bull crap.
Okay, but we're just average guys and girls here, right? Tara, if you were sitting on the bench and somebody brought you a case like we're talking about, what would you do?
Well, first of all, they never would have made it to 14 DUIs. They would. I mean, after 3, it's like you're done. You know?
Yeah, I mean 3.
Yeah. But this may have other thing. I should start by saying I would be a tyrant. I'm not. I should never be in a leader, like in a leadership position, because I would be my personality. I would be a tyrant all the way. So I don't. Yeah, 3 would be. They'd be done. You know.
Okay. Now, so you're saying the judicial system, and that's kind of where I guess we hung up a little bit tonight. Is it too soft?
Well, in some ways, it's too soft. Like the good old boy system was much better as far as like we're talking about like a civil case and things. That's really something that's handled on your local level. Like that's not really is the Supreme Court and the federal government is not really usually doesn't handle cases like that. And you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, and I guess like I feel like we're convoluting the two justice systems. So there's like a criminal and civil law, and then there's the federal law.
Well, I know, and like I said, we're kind of really just dealing with federal. I don't think it would be fair to try to do states. You live in Texas. You guys just kill everybody. I mean, so you got an argument.
Yeah,
I mean, they put it in an express lane, dude.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If you want to drive and shoot, you just go all the way to the left. So, I mean, they're still lynching people in Texas.
Well, but the thing of it is, and I have to kind of agree with Tara. I mean, she should never have first made it to 14. At 3, it should have been, congratulations, you just bought the.
But I'm a single mother. What's going to happen to my 3 children?
Well, that's
not. Well, stop drinking, bitch.
Exactly.
But I have to drink. I'm depressed.
We all agree.
My husband cheated on me.
The problem is that not everybody is this smart.
No, come on now.
No, are you serious?
Come on.
Well,
now.
you do know that
there's a lot of people out there that are like walking zombies.
There is BS bullshit. There's MS more shit. Then there's PhD, and that's piled higher and deeper.
Yeah, Pizza Hut delivers.
Okay. The thing of it is there becomes a point where somebody in their life or whatever, I don't know.
There's too much damn sympathy. It's the pussification of America.
Exactly. Somebody has decided that it's not my responsibility. It's not my responsibility to raise my children. That's on the school system. But oh, by the way, you better not yell at my child. You better not touch my child. You better not spank my child, because if I will sue you.
That's it's like victimization.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's victimization. Exactly. If you bum rush a cop and you beat the shit out of him in his car, and then you run away, and then you turn around and charge him, and he's out of his car, and you get shot, life sucks.
Well,
you're not the victim anymore. You're not the victim anymore.
Why didn't you tase him? But yell at him with a loud voice.
Well, maybe we should have done that in Afghanistan, or maybe we should have done that at the World Trade Centers. Don't you fly this airplane in this building?
You brought that up. In Iraq, what did we do if somebody broke through our convoy?
Lit them up.
Light them up. What happens when somebody broke through your convoy in Afghanistan?
I have no idea.
Nothing.
You weren't allowed to do anything.
Nothing. We couldn't shoot them.
Oh,
if you did, there was like 5 days worth of
CID.
Paperwork and people crawling up your butt wanting to know what you did.
Whenever we popped around in somebody's hood of a car or something, we didn't tell nobody. Hell no. We didn't. That one convoy with Jason Standard.
Yep.
They put freaking like 40 rounds in that car to kill him. And there was nobody else in the car, but he tried to break in between, right? So he got lit up. Then by the time the news had it, and by the time it got to the talk where I was for my report,
the guy was like some shaman or something.
Yeah, he's Muhammad's brother,
religious bigwig.
Yeah, he's Muhammad's brother, and there were 2 kids in the car. And then when we got a hold of the convoy, they said, "What are y'all talking about?" Which I would have too. I mean. We went out and
in Iraq
things happen.
In Iraq, it was if it comes in between, if it breaks the convoy, it doesn't exist anymore.
Okay, you remember the big red signs that says "Stay 100 feet back" and then it had in Arabic. Okay, we had to take all those off in Afghanistan.
We didn't have them on.
Yeah, I mean,
most of the convoys I went on,
yeah.
if we were security for the convoys, no, we didn't have those either.
No.
It was word of mouth to It was word of mouth through that system over there of, hey, don't you break into their convoy, they're going to light your ass up.
Well, I was flying.
And maybe that's why we were getting IEDs more in Iraq.
I was flying, and it was ridiculous because if we launched a tow missile at something, they would ask us if it wasn't identified as a specific armored vehicle. Okay. They'd say, did you see any AK-47 barrels, RPGs? We used to all in unison. Yeah.
Man, there was RPGs, AK-47. It looked like a porcupine.
When his body blew apart, we went and checked the parts, and it looked like there was something in his right hand. And it wasn't his penis. So
But
okay, let's get
anyway,
back to let's
right.
let's get back to the Constitution. Okay, these guys,
You
right?
can't just say penis and expect me to be focused for that.
She has to have a recovery time on that
Yeah, at least 2 minutes.
penis.
Okay, look, there's wait, now
Penis.
look. I'm just gonna say this. I know we don't have a lot of listeners. It's
Okay.
about 30 minutes till we're out of here. But if you have to focus on his penis, it's small. Okay, so let's keep going. All right, let's think about this because
Look,
okay, so
do
now
you see the size of these hands?
everything's
These
big.
hands
There
look
is no
small to
problem
you.
in that department.
Everything's big. That's why I date like midgets.
Oh,
Well,
man, that's-
Yeah, have you ever done 69 with a midget? Their little feet hit you right there. It's crazy. Okay. Y'all are just weird, man. Where do y'all get this? Jesus Christ. And you know
I
what?
have a fear of midgets. I was humped once by a midget, and
Really?
it was totally crazy.
Oh wow,
Yes.
God, I paid for it too.
no,
Not
this
you
is
getting
free.
humped, me. But you know, hey, about when the place closes at 2 and it's like 1:30 and you still ain't getting laid. I mean, you'll work things out, believe me. I was like, "Can I see your driver's license?" And it was her picture on her driver's license was her whole body. Okay, I'm joking. Well,
Like
90%. Yeah, 90%
Okay,
was her
so
head.
anyway,
Okay.
but
Don't message me anymore, Mike.
Wow. That hurt a little. I'll message you anyways. Okay, so look at it this way. This way, joking around, but I was trying to get to is okay. So we've got a representative from each state, correct? And these guys show up they showed up a year before, and I don't remember what that was called, and only like 6 people showed up. Then they showed up in Annapolis, and then this is when they wrote the Constitution, correct?
Mhm.
Okay, it obviously took a long time. Okay,
I think it only took a year to write the Constitution.
holy crap, that's a long time.
well, yeah. I mean,
no, not back then. It wasn't.
Well, no, a year was a long time, but it was primarily just 2 people that really. I mean, Thomas Jefferson is the primary writer of the Constitution.
Okay, but during this whole time, okay, the discussions were going on. Now, these were, not everybody went to college back then.
No.
I think they said like, maybe
Right,
40%, 4 out of 10.
Well, and now, but no, and not even that really, because most of the people, if you were to become an attorney, you apprenticed, you were a clock in a law firm, which is just a fancy term for clerk, and you worked your way.
Or a bad spelling.
Yeah, and you worked your way up through the law firm until and you worked on land deeds and stuff like that, and then you became a lawyer where you did trial law, or you were a junior apprentice and stuff like that. Same thing with accountants and stuff like that. Their college, their education was more of a focus in their field, and they became a specialist.
More,
Yeah.
more
But
trade.
there were still colleges, and there was
Yes,
still, Cambridge and everything else, and Yale. I mean, these things were all there. But here's the point I'm trying to make: is these were intelligent guys, and they wrote this thing, okay? And they were military men, they were college educated, and they were financially wealthy. Okay, all right. So you've got kind of the can we say the cream of the crop? The
Mhm.
creme de la creme, writing this document about guys like us.
Well, because they were guys like us, really. I mean, you say they were wealthy
George
and all that.
Washington was not anything like me. And he
Well-
was there. I mean, he was the man. He was a
Right.
bastard. I mean, if you read about him, he was a son of a bitch.
Yeah.
One, he was a traitor. Stone cold, hard ass traitor. He started out with the Brits and made the switch. And then became the president.
Benjamin Franklin was 81 years old when the Constitution was signed.
Okay, since,
81.
you know what? Since you're bringing that up, let's talk about the House of Representatives and Congress real quick. Do you know the age difference between the two? Tara, you can chime in if you know it.
I think it's
The age difference?
a 10-year age difference.
There's a 5-year age difference. You have to be at least 25 years old
to
and be in the
House of
country
Representatives.
for 7 years for the House of and then you have to be 30 years old and 9 years resident in the state you want to. Now, why did they do that?
Because they considered the Congress to be the more experienced,
The upper house.
the upper house,
And
and that the
they-
House of Representatives
Represented the
represented the people.
Okay, so let's get back to what I was just talking about a minute ago. So you got these smart guys, these wealthy guys, these
Now,
military guys.
And you say smart and wealthy and all that. I mean,
They were. I mean, they were.
Well, no, they weren't. They weren't wealthy in the fact that George Washington was a landholder, yes,
Right.
but he got that from marriage, if you remember.
And he was but he was the military man.
He was a military man.
Okay.
All right. John Adams was not.
I'm going to be honest. I
he wasn't
really
a
don't know much
he
about
was
John
he
Hart.
wasn't a military man.
Right.
He was a politician. He was a statesman.
Okay.
And he was educated, but he wasn't a huge landowner. He
No,
was just a
but
businessman.
what Mike's referring to is that these
These
were
weren't-
the men at the time.
Right.
These were
Now,
the intelligent men of the
right.
time.
And we consider them highly intelligent individuals because this is what they came up with over 200 years ago. And I'm not disagreeing in that point.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're throwing the word
They're
wealth.
enlightened.
Right. They're enlightened. But we're throwing the word wealth around like these were
at the
Donald Trump's and
There were
At the
dude, there was
time-
a couple of them that
Rockefellers
were
and-
wealthy.
at
Yes,
the
there
time
were a
that this was
couple.
written, they were some of the wealthiest
They were-
people in the country.
they were respected men because of
Mhm.
what they had accomplished or what they had done. So maybe and that is wealth upon itself because they had the respect of the people.
Right. Now, do our politicians today have the respect of the people?
No.
I think if we lined them up, people would pay money to shoot at them.
Matter of fact,
Trump?
we were discussing
I
this-
think people, even
yeah,
Trump.
even Trump. I was telling
That would be a
Danielle today,
Democratic line,
we were
though.
kind of discussing everything today, and I said if I could have a trial, I can prosecute the entire Supreme Court justice panel. I can prosecute the president and his cabinet, and I can prosecute 90% of the House of Representatives and the Senate, all for treason against the Constitution.
My God, that's a conspiracy theory.
No, it's not. It's fact. It's proven. It's already been done.
We
It's
just-
in
like a
law.
conspiracy
Just
theory to me,
nobody will
Because you
take
don't
it
have
on.
the authority to sue the federal government. So, and they are not held to the same standards as the common man.
That's
because
the biggest issue.
they
with
pass
the
a law,
Constitution.
the law doesn't apply to them.
Which is why Article 5 is such a big deal because we are trying to put term limits on Congress because that's
Right.
a huge problem.
Yes.
Well, and I wish that the states could get together and say, the 10th Amendment of the Constitution says, no, you can't do that. You don't have the authority to pass Obamacare. You don't have the authority to tell us how to run our states within our states. No, you don't have the authority to tax, but for the provision of common defense and to pay our debt. You don't have the authority to tax to support something that's not there. I mean, the 10th Amendment is very specific. It says power not given unto the federal government is reserved for the states.
Okay, but how is it that like the Supreme Court passes something like same-sex marriage and it gets thrown all around and everybody's got to abide by it, and if you don't, the federal government can shut you down, blah blah blah. But
And that's where the states are going back and they're using the 10th Amendment saying that's not within your scope. We didn't give you that scope of practice.
okay, so what about Tara? What about the 7 that have passed the COS?
What about them?
Can they go back and tell the Supreme Court they're not going to abide by the passing of same-sex marriage?
Well, the COS really, I personally think that the government should not be in the marriage business in the first place. But the COS, that's not really, they're not really looking for that. They're looking for going in and putting term limits on the federal government, on the Congress, on the judiciary, and then also the balanced budget amendments. They're basically wanting to proposing amendments to the Constitution that will restrict the federal government and kind of bring it back into their actual scope.
Okay, so now let me ask you a question, because seriously, the document was written over 200 years ago, right?
And it's only been changed 17 times in
Okay.
the 200 years it's
All
been
right,
in existence.
so if we're going to do like what you're saying with the Convention of States, or we're obviously in an election year, does the Constitution need to be looked at? Do we need to revise this for today?
Well,
No.
and I say no, because
we
I
need
mean,
to get back to the fundamental parts of it.
right.
that have been-
John Adams actually proposed that the Constitution be looked at and revised every 10 years. Now, it was never done.
Now, does that coincide with the census?
Now,
Because the census census gives you the electoral for the electoral college.
This is just what he said.
Right.
This is not anything that he wrote and
Okay.
It's
said.
not law
This
or
is not
anything.
law.
Cool.
So this is just something he verbally said. We should look at it and review it every 10 years to adjust it. But it's never been done. So don't start the precedents now. Because if you do, you have greater danger of undoing stuff that's been practiced so far. I.e., what's the First Amendment they're going to tackle?
Two.
The Second Amendment.
Yeah, they're going
to obliterate the Second Amendment. So now, and I've always said, once you take away the second, everything else goes away, because you no longer have the citizen no longer has the teeth that he needs. He's no longer that well-defended sheep having that argument with the two wolves.
Makes sense. I mean, do you think that, and we've all served, Tara hasn't.
But I think Tara would agree with that statement. Would you not, Tara?
What's about the amendments?
Yeah, the Second
Amendment being tackled. Well, it depends on how you go about it. I mean, if you can't, in other words, there's only two ways to change the Constitution, or not change it, add to the Constitution. And Article 5 is a constitutional right. Basically, they give an alternative. So when Congress goes AWOL, you know, the citizens have a way of bringing back, you know, or I guess really it's the states have a way of bringing it back in check. And I think
convention of the states. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But you can't use that to tackle, and you cannot like do something that's unconstitutional, add an amendment, like at a convention to propose amendments, because it doesn't work that way. You can't violate the Constitution. You can add to it, but you can't change it, because that would in itself would be unconstitutional. Does that make sense?
Right. But what we're saying is if they're making if we're talking about passing an amendment to have the Constitution reviewed every 10 years, then you've actually set yourself up to amend amendments. You see what I'm saying?
Yes and no. I mean, you'd have to have 38 states ratify something like that. You know what I'm saying? So if 38 states ratified it, I guess technically you could, but most likely since most of the states are conservative overall,
right.
It's not very likely that 38 states would ratify something like that.
If you had this out of control government that we have right now, it would be far more believable that they, as a group, would pass an amendment to the Constitution that says every 5 or 10 years we will review the Constitution and make amendments as necessary to reflect the times.
Possibly. Yeah.
I think setting a time limit. Well, that's
a term limitation.
A term limitation. Yeah, time limit probably wasn't a good term.
And I'm wholeheartedly for term limitation on the Congress and
on the people
on the.
I mean, they're elected in, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's what the hell the people want.
The elected people should have a term limitation now, and the reasoning behind the lifetime appointment to the Supreme Court was to add balance, so that the House and the Senate did not have rapidly changing capabilities. They had an old school. There's still some old school left on the other side to sort of slow down the change, so you didn't have, because if you have term limitation on the Supreme Court, what you don't have is, okay, you won't have Scalia dying in office, but you may remove 3 of the 9 justices at one time, and let's say that's during this presidential term. Now what do you have? You have a disaster. You have a disaster waiting to happen.
Remember Star Wars?
Yes.
When she said, no confidence.
Vote of no confidence.
Vote of no confidence.
Yes.
I have no confidence in the Supreme Court of the United States.
I don't either.
Not many people do anymore.
I just look at it and I say, you're a Democrat, you're going to vote that way. When these people will stay along party lines, regardless of what the topic is.
I understand. I understand what you're saying.
Sick.
And I agree with you.
What happened to the justices, the highest court in the land? How is it that these guys are screwing around with the document, man? This is the
and that's what I'm saying.
Key to our
that's
government.
What I'm saying. If I had the ability to sue the federal government, I could put the Supreme Court, the executive branch, and 90% of the congressional branch at the end of a rope.
You may not have
the
authority to sue the federal government as it stands, but the Declaration of Independence, the very nature of the Declaration of Independence, gives you the right to dissolve them.
Well, it doesn't give us a right to dissolve them.
Well,
it gives us the right
that you should.
It gives us the right to, and suggests that in when the government becomes too powerful, the people should remove and replace or reinstate the government as it was intended to be.
And it doesn't say if.
Right.
this ever happens. It says when. They
Yeah.
knew that there was going to be a
Yeah.
day when this
They
Constitution.
knew because they had studied history and they learned from the Greeks and
Right.
they learned from the Romans.
Okay, but let's be honest.
The American people have no backbone anymore. Overall, they don't. There's no way we would ever
Thank
hold,
you.
hold our government accountable.
Right.
Holy,
But you know
y'all
what?
gonna make me
But
say
you-
a bad word.
But you know what? But here's how that gets resolved. Citizenship or service means citizenship. And guess what? You relieve that problem because
Okay,
all the
but-
backbone is there.
Damn, guys, come on. Let's be honest. You try to fight the government, and you're gonna end up in
You
the ground.
get shot in the back of the head with your
Yeah.
hands held in the air. Yeah, I know.
I mean, and I'm not going to say Ruby Ridge, Waco, all this other stuff, but come on, let's be realistic. If I don't mind doing the radio show and all like that, but you're not going to get me on the street corner doing this.
Right.
This
No.
is underground radio, and I would love to see, all of us kind of deal with veterans and law enforcement, first responder kind of stuff. Tara's a little bit different, but the point I'm trying to make here is that is there going to come a point where we go back to that document, or we do what the document says we're going to do? Let's say Trump gets elected or Cruz gets elected. I just can't even think what would happen if Hillary or Bernie does. But let's say Trump or Cruz or both of them on the same ticket, they get elected, and we start making these changes and all that other stuff, but they're not following this document. I mean, we all are in agreement from reading the document and studying the document that it's it's not a right, it's not a
It's
privilege.
obligation.
I'm sorry?
It's our obligation.
Obligation
Very good
Yes.
word.
to fight the government, the tyranny of who's not following the rules.
Right.
Okay, so what happens when we do that? Let's say, I can get 100 people together. No problem. I can get 100 people together tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. And guess what they're going to do? They're going to use automatic weapons on us.
Yep.
Seriously. Think about it.
Absolutely.
They shot these guys in cold blood, if you ask me. Granted, yeah, they had guns. Granted, they had all this stuff. But the simple fact of the matter is dang,
This would have to be either an all-out civil war
it's not
in
gonna
order
happen.
to get to that point.
It'll never
Well,
happen like that.
but this country's heading for a breaking point.
Do you think it's racial, religious, or
I
the
think
people?
I think that the
it's-
government is pushing it to be racial because they
It's-
think that they can swing it the
Divide
way
and
they want
conquer.
to, but
Yeah.
and they're
What is
taking
it?
away
Wait
from
a
the
minute.
key points.
Lori, is that it?
Tara,
Good God, you
Tara,
said her
sorry.
name like 10 times.
Lori, that was close. What the hell?
Yeah,
What are
you know,
you drinking?
Lori, Tara. Yeah, it
That's
sounds
close.
like-
LT.
Tara, if he calls me by your name tonight, you're in trouble.
God knows I'm going
No,
to.
I mean, she started to say something.
No, I'm not going to call you by her.
when,
that'd be
when-
weird.
When we started
I was
this,
Oh.
saying I'm saying they divide and conquer us with the race card.
that's that,
because
and she
obviously
was
it might-
expounding on what you were saying, and you cut her off. So
I don't think the race card's going to work.
I think that's what they're implementing as their thing. And I
Right.
believe it or
They're-
not, the race
they're-
card is working.
they're trying
Right.
because right now you have this great racial divider sitting in the White House, who's already
And as long as he's got half of the country or most of the country focused on this up and coming race battle, then he's got everybody so divided that they're not focusing on the
The
real
real
issues,
issues,
right.
which is the fact that
Right.
the government is screwing everybody.
Tara, are you a racist? Be honest.
Some might say I am, but I don't think I am. I don't like people in general. Ultimately,
Yeah, you're an asshole. That's different.
Yeah.
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 Danielle, are you a racist?
I don't want to be.
I didn't ask that.
I don't want to be, but I feel like I'm forced to be at times.
All right.
I like everybody until
I'm
you give
dying.
me a reason not to.
Okay. Pat,
you know it's
It's a double-edged question.
it's not a fair question. It's
what? It's my damn radio show.
Seriously,
Fair
it's-
question.
No, it is not. It's not a fair question because I'll tell you what.
I'm dying.
All right, then let me answer it this way.
Okay.
At 3:00 in the morning, when I get the phone call, I don't give a shit what your skin color is. I'm walking into your house and I'm going to save your life.
Good point.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm colorblind.
When you're
Now-
working.
No, I'm colorblind.
On the same wavelength, you open
Yeah.
up my door at 2:00 in the morning.
Exactly.
I don't care what color you are, you're getting blown away.
Yeah, I don't care what your skin color is. The Rottweiler is going to have a chew toy.
Squishy, squishy.
Yeah.
Maybe I
just-
should stop
I just hope-
eating pork
Don't-
rinds and drinking beer. I'm dying. Okay?
Don't ever make that noise
I
again.
got two
But-
freaking medics right here.
Right.
I'm dying.
But the thing,
Somebody freaking get an AED
No.
or is it clear?
no,
So
we don't have a duty. We don't have a duty to act here. No.
you said you didn't see skin color. Danielle, I need mouth to mouth.
No.
Okay.
Hey, give
No,
him
but
that Heine
seriously,
lick maneuver.
Seriously, I mean, to
Bonus
say-
round.
to ask somebody if they're racist or not, you know what? Everybody is a racist, but I don't care if you're black, I don't care if you're white, I don't care if you're Hispanic, I don't care if you're Asian. If you respond to me and treat me like a human being, I'm going to respond to you and treat you like a human
There we
being.
go.
When you're going to treat me like a piece of shit or a piece of meat,
No, but
I'm going to
when
treat
an-
you like a
okay,
piece
but
of
I'm
shit or
not
a piece of
going
meat.
there. That's not what I'm
Okay,
doing.
let me retract what I said. No,
Over here.
I am not a racist. I hate assholes.
There you go. That's what I'm.
I
okay.
don't care what color
And-
the asshole
and
is.
let's-
If you're an
let's
asshole, I
change-
don't like you.
Let's change that word from racist to what are you? I mean, growing up, there was that was always the term, but then it got coined into, it was bigotry, but that wasn't the proper term. What is it?
Okay, well, look, I got a listener that's messaging in, and they're saying being a racist is a choice, and it displays a weakness. Okay, now remember we were talking about wussification of America. So is military Mike acting crazy, or is he trying to tie some of these underlying things? I can tell you, I'm a racist. I know I'm a racist because, and I'm professional and mature enough to admit it. I'm not proud of it, but I can look and see. The other day, I was at the gas station on the road right here. It's one of those Kroger, outlets, and across the street was a Dollar General. A black guy came out, and his pants literally were about an inch above his knee, and there was probably 3 pairs of underwear on,
But
and he was chasing a child that was running out in the parking lot in this busy road, and it immediately infuriated me to the point where I yelled, "Hey, y'all know how loud I can get. Hey," and the kid looked at me, he looked at me, and I threw my hands up, and he threw his hands up. I was ready to walk across the street.
Mhm.
I'd go ahead, fill the tank up. What the hell? I'm going to go over there and beat your ass. And when I thought about it on the way home, when I was calming down a little bit, I thought about it, and I said, you know what, military, you're a racist.
it's not.
I brought this up in church before because
that's not racism.
man,
I would
It
not.
was.
I
didn't
would
know
not
anything about this
categorize
guy.
that as racism at
I
all.
didn't know anything about this guy. I saw a black guy acting like an idiot, and there was a child involved. I got mad.
Exactly. You
But,
saw a man who happened to be black
Mm.
acting like an idiot. Because if that was a white guy, would you have just
Yes.
yes. See,
Okay.
you would have been
So
pissed
is
off
that
anyway.
racist?
No,
That's
but I
not
mean, I
racist.
was
Okay.
to a point where I was mad. I mean,
Okay, and I understand that. You know what? And I don't really appreciate walking around Walmart or the grocery store with and looking at somebody's freaking underwear. I mean, to me, that's just distasteful.
okay, but now,
So does it make me mad? Yeah, it makes me mad.
Yeah.
Because
It's not the skin color. It's the
Yeah,
it's the
it-
actions.
I
yeah,
could
it's the
care-
way it's the way certain people act.
right.
Yes.
And
So-
and that and I wish I could remember the name of the word that's used, but it's basically
It's only a 2-hour show, Pat.
yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Prejudice.
Which believe it or not, guys, we're really close.
Prejudice.
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 Yes. Okay. Am I prejudiced? Yes. Sorry.
You're a
I'm
racist.
no.
No, there's
No,
a
no, no, no.
difference.
Racist means that you're going to see a race. You're going to see a color. You're
I
going
do
to
not
see
see
a
white
nationality.
or black as
Mhm.
being a supreme race over the other.
But
We are
prejudice,
not.
We are all prejudiced. It doesn't matter who you are. The Pope is prejudiced.
He
Picking on
doesn't
the
like
Pope.
he doesn't like the Trump.
Hey, look, you look at the Pope and look at the Imperial Wizard of the KKK. They're basically wearing the same hat.
Yes.
So, well, I'm going to hell for that one.
No.
What are you
because-
laughing about? You're pitching on Tuesday. We're having no tap turn.
Don't laugh too loud. It's your turn in the barrel.
Yeah. Okay. Look, guys, we got about 5 minutes left. I'm just kind of going to go around. I'm going to go.
Man, I can't believe it's over.
I know. I first of all, Tara, thank you for being on the phone with us. Some great insight. It's very difficult to be on a radio show when you're a call in, especially with me hosting, because I run my mouth all the time. But if you would just kind of give us maybe 1 or 2 minutes in closure, and then we'll go around the rest of the table, and then we'll get the hell out of here.
About Article 5 or about what?
About you, about this conversation. Whatever you want to talk about, you got a minute, and actually 58, 57.
Okay. Well, let's see. First of all, as far as the Article 5 goes, I think that the biggest thing to take away from it is that it's written in the Constitution for a reason. It's a kind of like a fail-safe for whenever Congress won't act and whenever you have a runaway Congress. And so it's, in my opinion, a lot of people have a problem. They say that they're afraid of a runaway government or a runaway convention. And the main thing I think that people need to understand is that we already have a runaway government, and since the founders put this in the Constitution for us to use, I don't see any reason. If George Washington or Ben Franklin came back and said, "Well, did you use Article 5 yet to remedy the situation?" and we said no, they'd be like, "Okay, kiss my ass, use the tools we gave you, and then come and talk to me." So it's kind of I think that's the biggest issue that people seem to have, and I think that's the easiest way to describe how to not be worried about that. We have so many more problems going on that. The convention itself is not the problem. The problem is our federal government treats us like we're their bitch, and it's really getting to a point where it's not cute.
So you honestly, truthfully think there'll be a breaking point? There's going to be something specific. There's going to be a milestone. There's going to be a time. There's going to be a point in space where suddenly everybody goes, you know what? I'm just freaking tired of it. Somebody organize it, and we're going to fight the government.
Well, we're already doing it. Like, you mean like as far as a war goes? I think as far as Article 5 goes, it's already happening. And if this fails, then yes. If the Commission of States project fails, I think that eventually it has to come to that, because everything has a life cycle, and we're reaching the end of ours if we don't do something to stop it.
I think it's already starting to happen, and it's starting to happen out west.
Okay.
BLM.
Tara, I truthfully and honestly, I very much appreciate you calling in. You gave some good insight. I mean, you're a girl, so we could only take it so far.
I know, right?
Yeah.
My God-given handicap.
Yeah, I mean, God gave you a vagina, and
read your Constitution.
And you know what?
Yeah.
And she gets more penis than
God. All right, that went bad quick.
She can get all of those she wants.
I would very much like to leave the channel open for future reference on future shows, for you to call in, or for us to make arrangements to have you call in, because I think what's going to happen with the World According to Mike is we truthfully are going to get more like this, where we're a talk show, where we're going to be regular folks tackling the issues of today. So Danielle, you got about a minute or two there to do your little closeout.
Oh, I have to do that?
No.
You don't
have to. You don't have to if you don't want to.
No, I love being here, Mike. I'm talking about the Constitution and just making me read the book.
I know.
And brush up and realize how strong we really should be compared to how.
God, isn't it almost sickening to this is what's killing me. About 2 weeks ago, a woman sat in that chair right over there while I was co-hosting with DJ Scotty on a morning show. Her name's Holly. And she looked at me and she said, "Why aren't you coming to a K-9 event? From what I understand, you're always involved in law enforcement and K-9 and military." And, I sat there for that whole show for 2 hours feeling like a piece of shit. I really did. And Scotty didn't help. He was just flipping me off, and you couldn't see that on YouTube. But so I did. I really felt like a piece of crap because she just called me out on it. So you know what I did was Saturday I showed up.
Yeah.
And I filmed a live event for the memorial for those K-9s for 2 hours, and I posted. Look, it's a little bit long, but you know what? It's going to take as long as it needs to take for us to give these guys the respect. The next thing is Scotty and I did an auction. Okay, and we auctioned off stuff that people had donated, and we with a little over $2,000 went to that charity. Okay, and we had a great time, and it was fun and all that other stuff. Damn, man, these guys, they left their families. Does this sound familiar, guys? They left their families. They packed their clothes and they kissed their wives. Okay, and they spanked their black servants on the butt and said, "I'll be back." They hugged their kids, They didn't have Skype. They didn't have cell phones. They didn't have any of the stuff. They didn't even know when they were going to come back. And they went and they said this was so important that we're going to sit down here and we're going to figure this out. And we're going to make our country, not me, not the military Mike household, not the military Mike business. We're going to make this country, we're going to organize it so that it works. And for 200 plus years, it's worked. But now, what the hell is happening? It's like it's all unraveling.
It is, and it's because of the greed that is sitting in one little place of this country.
And where's that?
It's in the Capitol.
Okay. So you think it's about money?
I think that it's a lot about money. It's
all
control.
about money. It's the politicians wanting to line their pockets.
Politicians get paid good.
But they're getting
they get paid when
by
they're
big
gone.
business. All right? But it's also the people who sit at home and collect a check from that very same place.
Yeah. Oh, there's tons of that. And I point, me and the VA.
That was the downfall of both the Greek and the Roman republics.
Okay. Now, Pat, let's switch over to you here in your closing comments about the discussion about kind of changing the format of the show a little bit to going towards veterans and people that are, because you know what? Scotty set this up about 5-6 years ago to be underground radio, to be like a pirate radio type thing. And it's gone through a couple format changes. And now we've got a couple different shows that talk about different topics. This one is really going towards people. You know, I can truthfully and honestly see this being a voice for people that want to do this, because I almost feel bad that I'm not doing more to bring the Constitution back. These guys did a lot.
First off, we need to dust it off and get the people in Washington to read it. You know,
and do you really think that they don't know?
They won't read
know.
it. We need to educate the rest of the population on
These
how
guys are smart. Listen, I mean, there's no dumbasses up there.
Really?
Look, they might have strange
Are you
ways.
kidding me?
Look, they have strange ways of looking at stuff, but these guys are
They're
smart,
not
man.
going to change what they're doing. You need to educate the people to make the change.
There are people in Washington that think if you put too many people on Guam, it will flip over.
Okay, and that's the point of that document that we've been talking about all night, is we the people. So I think the entire federal government's a big joke. And I can't even really see where it's needed. So God knows my car is going to blow up on the way home.
Well, and the fact that you'll always have an argument between, I mean, there's an argument between Georgia, Florida, and Alabama
over water.
Yeah. All right. And it takes the federal government to resolve that. But it also, the federal government was there to be the representative of the colonies and the goods that we provided on the international sales market. They were to represent so that we had fair trade. That all right. They monitored fair trade between the states. They administered fair trade with foreign countries. They provided for the defense of the nation. So, you know, the states provided for defense, but the federal government had the ultimate responsibility, and that they would provide the defense, and the states would reinforce that military with militia. Okay.
So now you confuse me. You talking about National Guard type, or
National Guard's been around longer than the
Army,
the U.S. Army?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So, I mean, were you Guard?
Yeah.
Well, okay, I was reserve and Guard and active duty.
Well, I was active,
and I know Danielle was Guard at least, right?
Guard and
okay, so if they called us up right now and they said, "Oh, you old bastards, come on into the Armory. We're going to refit you for some new uniforms."
Okay.
Oh yeah. All right. We're going to give you a rifle, and we want you to go stand on the corner of Flat Shoals and freaking Sigmund Road, and we want you to stop cars and start searching them. If you find a weapon, I want you to confiscate it. You gonna do it?
No.
Oh, come on now.
No.
You were a damn senior NCO.
You damn Skippy, and I know I knew
okay,
all the officers I worked with would
I would be
the same
too
thing.
busy
be
digging the holes in my backyard to hide my shit.
Because the first thing that you should do is that is an unlawful order that violates the Constitution. Therefore, you are under arrest.
You know what? I'm gonna call bullshit. It's after 9 o'clock, so I can do it. I can call bullshit at 7 o'clock. Pat, seriously, you're a damn sergeant. You were a sergeant first class. You're a senior NCO, and you're going to disobey a direct order.
It's an unlawful order. Officer. That is an unlawful order.
Captain Dipshit just told you.
And Captain Dipshit will find himself in a dumpster.
Man, everybody talks tough when they're on pirate radio.
Really?
Bring me another cabin boy. This one's all used up.
I know several. I know a lot of officers in the Georgia Army National Guard that will tell you that same answer. They'll be like, "No, that is an unlawful order, and I will not obey it."
Did you guys go down to Louisiana when Katrina hit? After
Yes.
Katrina hit,
Yes.
I was working for a private contractor. I was actually carrying an Uzi, which was really cool. And do you know how many National Guard guys I saw breaking in houses?
Yeah.
I'm so serious, man.
I wouldn't have done it.
They were breaking in freaking houses and stealing shit.
I wasn't in the National Guard then.
You weren't? Okay.
Yeah.
It was pretty amazing. We were just protecting this one guy's house, but you gotta venture out because it was really weird. I mean, it was like a combat zone.
Yeah.
So we ventured out quite a bit, and we saw people breaking down into other people's houses.
We were told. I went down with a truck driver.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I heard you went down on a.
Yeah. Okay.
Isn't
So
that what you
anyway,
said?
I do drive a truck.
Stop.
we took a 50-foot reefer truck with chock full of ice down there. And when we
said
crossed
reefer.
over into the Mississippi line, we got pulled over. And the first thing the sheriff asked us was, "What are you hauling?" We told him we were hauling ice, and he told us to keep it quiet. And he said, "If anybody asks you, you're hauling fruit and vegetables."
Are you serious?
Yes, because the night before,
Ice was a commodity.
I'm done.
a woman was shot because she went to her brother's house and took a bag of ice to keep her baby's formula cold.
Now every night down there we heard gunshots.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Every single night, and it's really funny because in Iraq we didn't. They rarely everything
It was
anything at
worse
night.
than a war zone.
And then Afghanistan, pretty much you got IEDs during the day and you had gunfire at night.
Yeah.
You had small arms fire. So anything I know I interrupted. I apologize,
no,
Pat,
it's
but
all right.
anything else to close out?
No,
We've got one more week of kind of this kind of discussion. I'd like to go into Bill of Rights, and I've asked a gentleman that's running for the Rockdale County Commissioner's seat. I've asked him if he would like to come on board and give us, because you know what? You're not a politician. You're not a politician. You're not a politician. You're not a politician. This guy's a politician. I want to get some answers. I want to find out why is somebody who's in politics rah-rah-reeing the people? How come the people aren't rah-rah-reeing and bringing it to the politicians?
Because
I think they are, and that's why
Who?
we're getting Trump. That's why Trump is so
but
popular. is
according to
people are
everybody, including the
haven't
other
had a
co-hosts of the
rah-rah.
show, the only reason people are voting for Trump is because of that, because he just blah, 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 blah. He has no freaking programs. He has no freaking plans for anything. And all of his
and
potential people that like him or voting for him are uneducated, and they're non-voters. They're not going to vote when it comes to November.
But the
I'm
reason
I
that
hear
he
this every
has
day,
so
man.
much popularity right now with the people is
Okay,
because
that's
he
what you're
is
being told.
everything but a politician.
Scotty, isn't this what I get every day on Trump? That he's the people that like Trump are uneducated. They're non-voters.
That's what we hear every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day on the morning show.
Well,
we do
and that's what the other
And we also
Republicans
hear
are going to
that
tell
as
you.
long as we're fighting the system, we're never going to get anywhere. We get told that every day.
every day.
Right. So,
Well,
so,
and you
so
see
drink
that
the
they're
Kool-Aid
trying.
and follow the sheep. There we go. There we go.
And that's-
Just drink the
Okay.
Kool-Aid
But
and
to be honest, you say you invited a commissioner in,
Right.
But what have I been told? You got a big mouth. You need to learn to play nice with others.
Yeah,
You
well,
need to get along with
you know
them.
what,
You
it's-
keep your
it's-
mouth shut.
Scotty, it's a
The
different
thing
thing.
of it
If you guys are wondering, I'm talking with DJ Scotty, the owner of the station, and he's kind of engineer on call tonight for me. But get this, okay, we can't even do birthday pranks in the morning if they hear his voice. Soon as they hear his voice, they're like, "Oh, Scotty, come on." So what we started doing was I started doing them, and I can do a bunch of different voices. Now, because of the way it's going, they're going, "Oh, is this Scotty and those guys on Just for Fun Radio?" And I'm not bragging about the radio and how many people are seeing or viewing us. But what I'm saying is there's so many people out there, just really good, everyday people like us right here.
Yeah.
But they're not
well,
doing
and,
anything.
And it is widely been said that the liberals accuse the conservatives of being uneducated, being racist, being whatever,
Yeah.
even though most conservatives have facts and most liberals are their whole response. Well, you're just racist, or you're
Well, yeah,
just
they do
uneducated. You
deflect.
don't know what
Yeah.
you don't know what you're talking
They-
about. Really?
they-
Well, obviously, So you know what that they feel that way about who's voting for Trump. You know what? It doesn't matter. I think the biggest thing is that if you're voting for anybody other than Trump, you're voting for the same problems that you've been having.
Well, no,
over the years.
I thought
And-
Cruz
and-
was
and-
a big fighter.
And Cruz, and I'm not
you
I'm
know.
not saying bad about Cruz. I mean, Cruz is a big fighter. Cruz has another issue he's having to deal with. The whole,
He
and,
doesn't.
and here's the thing. Here's the greatest thing about his issue. The Supreme Court can't say he's not a U.S. citizen.
There was a guy that I know that argued that with me on Facebook, and damn if he didn't really come across well with it. He had all the stuff, and
But here's the thing. If the Supreme Court
he
says
convinced me that, look, just leave that alone.
if the Supreme Court says that Ted Cruz is not a citizen, then they actually have to turn around and tell Obama he's not a citizen either.
Yeah.
And so that's just that.
Okay. Here's the deal, boys and girls. This has been the world according to Mike. You know what? We've been doing this for a while now, and it may not have been the most entertaining show, but I guarantee it is the most informative one. And I am so thankful you guys showed up. Tara, if you're still on the phone, thank you for showing up. Thank you for your input. I don't believe we're going to go.
Having me.
I'd love to. I don't believe in Article 5. Okay. I just don't believe, and I think we've talked about this before. I just don't believe.
So you
conventional
cherry
states.
pick you cherry pick the Constitution, basically, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, I'm being honest. I told you I was a
I
racist.
understand.
I told everybody I'm a racist. I can't help it. I'm not proud of it. And look, the
I
other
won't,
thing
I
is
won't hold it
that
against you.
I know, because you're an intelligent woman. But the fact of the matter is I just don't see the states organizing and pushing away from the federal government. The federal government takes the tax money and fixes our roads. Hell, our roads are in bad shape now. If they threaten states with federal infrastructure money,
they use the power of the dollar to blackmail states into compliance.
How are you going to fight?
It's already happening.
Yeah, how are you
It's
going to
already
fight?
happening.
Well,
If you stand up and fight it, they're going to shoot you in the damn snow with your hands up.
because you have
No,
to
there's a
pop
process.
that
There's a
titty out of
process.
your mouth.
Never.
Yeah.
All right,
But what
Tara.
I'm saying is there's a legal process that has to be done, and it's already happening. So get ready, whether you like it or not, it's happening.
All
Your
right,
state
well,
already passed it.
I will continue to watch that because I think it's going to turn into dust. Don't get mad at me, but that's just my point. I think Ted Cruz is going to lose miserably, and I was just trying to look there at the last
I
second.
agree with you with there.
I think Rubio's dropping out. Did anybody hear that?
He lost his home state. I think that.
Yeah, I
pretty
mean,
much
you
is
lose
the-
your home state and your money because the money was talking about pushing Trump or Cruz. Eric Erickson, if you're listening, I hope you are. You're a big bubblehead. I can't stand you. You think you're a freaking political analyst on WSB in Atlanta, and you're a joke, dude. You should be ashamed of yourself to sit there and try to purposely start arguments between Republicans. Is just the wrong way to use your voice. It's ridiculous. And if you got a problem with it, you know how to get in touch with me. You still got a bubblehead, though. All right. Yeah, I got personal. So, Scotty, thank you for giving us this forum. I know it's time for you to go to bed, and I'm running over. I'll be here in the morning, a couple more hours, and you see me again. I'll just keep drinking.
Not enough coffee in the world.
Yeah. The morning show. Look, you know what? If you guys ever want to come on the morning show, let me tell you something. You better bring your A gang. Because it starts out slow and then it's so freaking fast. Sometimes you go to look something up, and by the time you bring it up on your tablet, because we have tablets and laptops and the main computer.
Oh, yeah,
By
that's
the time-
another subject.
It's already something else. Somebody called in and said, you know what, freaking military Mike's a dumbass. And then Scotty's like, I know, and we can't get rid of him. And he's like freaking rodents. And thank you very much. We have a great time. So I think we lost Tara. I think she probably said, the hell with y'all. It's late enough. Thanks, guys. I appreciate y'all. We got a lot of things coming up. I have another meeting, and I need to talk to Scotty about this, but I just got a phone call today. Got another meeting about the up-and-coming comedy night.
Sweet.
It's probably going to be Mayish, but I think we'll have a lot of fun with that. We've got this show next week. Let's tear apart the Bill of Rights if it's good with y'all.
I'm good.
Work on the first 10.
First 10. That's 10. Well, yeah, because the other ones just get nuts.
Right, because the other ones.
The first 10 because you're saying they were written before or during the Constitution. Yes. So yes. I got some research to do because I did not know that. Never heard that before. So I learned a lot tonight. I think it's great that we all have our own point of view on it. And you know what? We could be with the Foxhole Network. We could very easily be onto something here. Because veterans,
we made contact with one the other day, and the network jumped into action, and somebody actually made contact with him, and we don't know that he was actually at that point. He was talking.
So we're saying, and God knows, David Palmer, up in Rome, Georgia, is in ICU still.
Yeah,
and
prayers out to him and his family.
Yeah, it was just one couple of sentences and that thing's got over 100 likes and the string of prayers goes off the page and that's great. But you know what, you had said something earlier about the military having a mindset about one we all kind of do think a little bit alike at some point, and that may be the guys and the girls that are going to push back.
Yes.
Something's got to change.
Yes.
Something's got to change. I mean, you can't be a millionaire. You can't be rich in this country anymore. They're going to take half of it. You can't, if you go for an education, holy smokes. My classes for my master's degree are almost $1,300 a class.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's freaking robbery. It's online.
Well, but that's a whole different conversation.
Absolutely. But I'm just saying things are out of control.
Yes.
Eventually, I don't believe it's going to be race. I don't believe it's going to be religion. I believe it's going to be the people.
Race is the smoke and mirrors trying to keep us off of it.
Yeah,
because it may blow up initially as a race war, and then it turn and go, and people start realizing.
I think it's going to be we the people.
Yeah, and it's
unfortunately law enforcement's going to be caught right in the freaking middle of it.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Well, guys, thank you very much. Hey, it's the world according to Mike. We'll be back next week to help you sleep on Wednesday night. All right, hey, we got other shows. We got Ladies Talk is on Mondays nights now, and that's with DJ Smiles, who is probably the most beautiful DJ ever. And it's just for women. It's like the vagina monologues. If you don't have a uterus or a vagina, you can't even come to the studio. I've tried, and they asked me not to. That could be other reasons. Tuesday night, we have Tech Talk with Xander Mack, and he does talk a lot about tech, but he also gets into politics, religion. Smart guy. He's from the UK, more than likely illegal alien. Morning show, Monday through Friday, 7:30-ish to 10-ish. Faster. Let me tell you something. If you want to wake up, I challenge you to call in the morning show and try to get with us because it's rapid fire, baby. It's rapid fire. And then you got like Redneck Steph. It's like rapid fire and a speed breaker. Okay.
A backfire.
This Saturday, some of us, I'm not sure. I told my son tonight that I was going to go Southern Fried Championship Wrestling in Monroe, which will be fun. Whole bunch of old wrestlers, from when we were growing up, if you're into that kind of thing. And then, bam, we'll start the week again. Hopefully, they'll have the air conditioner fixed in the studio because I've. By
the way, since you're live, let's just go ahead and
okay.
About an hour ago, I confirmed.
Driving and crying.
Going straight to hell.
Yeah, driving and crying concert in Covington. Do you know the date?
It's the last Saturday of April.
Oh wow.
29.
Okay, so the last Saturday of April. More to come. The best thing to do is keep your eyes on the Just for Fun Facebook page. If you would go to the World According to Mike page and click like, because then I get a whole bunch of likes and then the boss says, hey, you're doing good. Other than that, he says, quit touching yourself inappropriately during the morning show. Pat, thanks a lot. Appreciate you.
You're welcome, man.
Danielle, thanks for coming. Hey, it's the World According to Mike. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, that's the best way to end. Hey, everybody, love you. Go fuck yourself. That was good.
Oh, damn, guys. Y'all rack my damn brain, man. I'm trying to come up with questions for you guys and stuff. And
Hell, you're ready to go.
y'all went way freaking deeper than I thought.
You thought you needed to have her on the other end of that phone, didn't you?
I'm not even gonna show you the text messages.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh man,
Why is that?
because man, she plays too much. Do I need to hit stop down here on the YouTube?
Yeah, especially since it's still live.